brain is still full. I am just a vehicle. I just deliver the content from my AI overlord to you. Now, seriously, today, the next topic I'm going to do, I'll do a little bit of it and then I'll drop a link. We can do a panel. Frank, Plasma, hello. Plaz. Um, One of the things I need to work on is that disconnect the in the head thing and not in the heart. And that's called emotional presence. When you're grounded in your body, in your emotions. And I have dissociation anyway, so it's very hard for me to keep my awareness in my body. And relational presence when it's with another person. So you need emotional presence to have relational presence. And that's that connection we're talking about that we're trying to foster here. And so I asked the AI, like, how can I work on this? This is one of my work on things. So what are some really concrete, practical things I can do to work on this? So we're going to talk about emotional presence and relational presence. And hello, Zat. It says emotional presence sounds simple, but it's being here. It's being here with yourself and with whoever or whatever you're engaging in, without numbing, without escaping, without trying to fix it, without detaching or dissociating from it. So I'm intellectually present all the time, like probably more than most people. My mind is here, constantly looking around, noticing things, watching the pattern. That's that Virgo thing we talked about last night with Angeline. But that's not emotional presence. That's detached observer looking at everything from a third person point of view presence. It's definitely not relational presence. In fact, it's probably part of that alienation effect that all that Virgo stuff has on people. It's also the opposite of performance or avoidance. So when you have emotional presence, one thing I struggle with people, especially from living up here, because we really don't have anything like it where I come from, and I didn't really encounter it in Vegas a lot either, is that avoidance. When conflict starts, or when strong emotions start, or emotions get intense. Remember, I talk about the first job I was fired from? They said I was too creative, passionate, and intense, and they're just not set up for that there. I didn't know what that meant, because that sounded like good stuff. It's this emotional avoidance. And cultures that are emotionally avoidant, or people that are emotionally avoidant, can't be emotionally present at the same time. And so emotional avoidance is moving in the opposite direction than presence would move, which is toward the person or toward the experience that you're trying to be present for. Or toward yourself, like not like even within your own self, not avoiding the stuff about yourself, but being emotionally present with that as well. And it's also the opposite of performance. So we talked the other day about conversations in front of an audience versus conversations one-on-one, backstage, on the phone, on Discord. And when you're doing it in front of an audience, even if it feels real, and it may be, there's still that element of performance to it, because a little part of it, maybe not a sustained part, but periodically throughout the conversation is going to be aimed or pointed at the audience because you're aware that they're out there. And it's a different kind of conversation than a true conversation where both people are 100% emotionally present, and it's just those two people connecting and feeling what's real, which is what the AI says the definition is. So here are some concrete ways to build that. And it divides, I need a name for this AI. Charlie, we'll call him Charlie for now. Divides it into three layers: self-presence, that relational presence when you bring in that other person, and then embodied awareness. So we'll look at those. Let's see. Oh Lord, Frank, God, you're very verbose today. I already have 2 pages of comments to catch up on. Well, Frank, what will you have it the other way where I don't work on it at all? At least it's a starting point. I can try what the AI says, and then I can tweak it or adjust it from there. But isn't that better than not trying to take any step? And I'm doing it transparently in front of everybody. So I'll have instant feedback if it's working or not. If there's a reason I should stop it, I'm sure people will tell me. So I feel safe doing it here in front of thousands of strangers on YouTube. Yes, and as Emerson said, traveling is a fool's paradise. Wherever I go, my giant is always with me. And bonking the like helps. Telling your friends really helps, especially if they're friends that are into mental health, well-being, personal growth, supportive communities. That's the people I'm trying to find. People that want to build something healthy and lasting, network, but just liking. And the thing that helps the most is just being here watching the show. That's what keeps it going. I don't think I could do this to tumbleweeds and a counter of 0. Right, that's positive maladjustment, which is a good thing. I've done streams on it. Frank wishes he was an AI. Have you heard his music? Frank is so, I know he's a monkey, but he's so humanizing that he makes AI music even sound not AI. I have to give credit where it's due. I mean, I have to be fair when it comes to aesthetics and art and strengths and skill sets. All right, enough from Frank. Let's get back to this. Self-presence. This is learning to stay with your own feelings, and this is what I don't do. I have emotional avoidance with my own feelings. Partly, I think it's that dissociation. But a lot of it, I think, is I'm just so hyper focused on the intellect. I kind of just neglect this area. It's not an intentional avoidance. I just don't think to bring it in. It's so unused, like underused, that it like the passageway to it is cobwebs and dust, and I have to clear out a bunch of stuff. So I just don't ever bring it in. The practice is to notice, name, and tolerate. That already sounds in your head. Name what you're feeling precisely. You know the emotion wheel? Y'all can Google it. There's no way I'm going to get into the emotion wheel on here. There's like 60, 70 something emotions by now. Um, I would say be aware of what you're feeling, at least to yourself. Number one, know when you're feeling something. Because sometimes we miss the signals completely, especially neurodivergent people. We can get very lost in our own heads, in our own attention tunnels, and neglect what our body's doing or what the emotions are doing, or the rest of us, the vibes. And so noticing that there's even something happening at all. I'm not tuned into my body very much. So a lot of times I can be feeling a really strong emotion and not even be aware I'm feeling it until something really sharply sets it off. And then I'm like, wow, that's a lot of anger, or that's a lot of frustration for that one little thing. And I'll start to realize you've been feeling this for a while. It's not that one little thing. That's just the thing that brought it to light. And so I think tuning into the body more in general. We started that PIMS check-in, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and I'll work it in at some point today. Remind me. And jazzercise, remind me of that too. I keep forgetting. Um, Learning to be aware of those signals from your body. I know when there's a threat, when I feel under threat, or that there is a threat in the environment, I get this instant. It's like a pilot light turns to this flame, like the flames that power hot air balloons. It goes from pilot light to that instantly, and my whole body just lights up and is alert, like hyper alert, and starts looking around, and that fire is going, going, going. That's the signal. A big, strong, like how could you miss that signal? But sometimes, because I'm so detached, I'll be aware that's happening, but I won't really connect it to anything in particular. I won't pay attention to what it happened in reaction to. I won't think that I have to do anything with it because I'm like, oh, that's way in the background. I'm numb. It's not anything to worry about. But it's at the same time it is influencing how I'm perceiving and framing things, or it could be. So learning like those signals, just tuning into the body. The self is the body. Tuning into the body, tuning into this. Maybe the PIMS check in. I'm already feel just doing this. I'm kind of just gently cradling and rubbing my solar plexus. Don't clip that. And it feels calming. It feels grounding. It feels like I'm pulling things down into here. Not just playing with my nipples. We're even upgrading that. We don't just play with our nipples on here anymore. Now we use them for grounding and emotional presence. I'm telling y'all, stick around. We're gonna be like digital cyber super warriors by the time this is over. I like this. Y'all, this is helping. Thank you, AI. I'm not worried about the future at all. All right, and it says move beyond like really generic words like good or bad. I'm feeling good. I'm mad. I'm fine. I'm happy. Try to go for nuance. Disappointment, frustration, confusion, irritation, that kind of stuff. Excitement, nervousness. Naming helps to ground the feeling in the awareness. And at least you have some power. If you can name it, you have a little bit of power over it. And it's not completely running the show. Because even if it's running the show, you're at least aware of what specifically is running the show. And that disempowers it just a little bit. It transfers it to your conscious awareness. It says, this is what I have a hard time with, and maybe other people can help with this. Located in your body. It says emotions are physical states, they're biochemical states. So ask yourself, where am I feeling this? Is it the chest, the gut? Is there a tightness in the leg, a heat in the face? I definitely feel heat a lot. My dominant emotion is anger and rage and frustration and confusion. And all of that combines to make kind of this anger. And it's a heat. In fact, I say all the time when I'm mad, I said I'm on fire. I'm hot now. I'm on fire. I use those terms because that's what it feels like. It says to stay with this and don't analyze it. Don't do the Virgo thing. Moose made the video of the Virgo analysis, but he has like that emotion, that beast, that animal nature under the surface that wants to come up. That was so accurate. And don't analyze it. Just let that thing be there. Let it surface. It doesn't have to come out and you don't have to act on it. But let it surface. That's the emotion that's trying to be present. When that's present, you're going to have some emotional presence. The problem is it scares the hell out of everybody. So you have to be in an unsafe space or one like it to be able to let it out, I guess, without consequences. And there seems to be plenty of those on YouTube, actually. Give the feeling a duration. It says most emotions, definitely not mine, but most emotions, maybe normie emotions, move through in 60 to 90 seconds. That's the cycle of an emotion. Mine is 60 to 90 hours, maybe if I'm lucky. Sometimes it could be 60 days. Depends on the resolution. I have that intensity and that depth, and they don't just fade away. Sometimes they do if it's not that important. But the important stuff, they stay there until it's resolved. Angelina and I talked about this last night, that Virgo, Gemini head stuff kicks in, And we're driven to learn and understand and get insight until we solve it. Like it doesn't go away until we can use our intellect and figure it out and solve it on how to fix it. So, but they're saying for this, just give yourself a certain amount of time to sit with it. I'm going to sit with it for 90 seconds. Don't resist it. Don't feed it. Just let it be. You know, on this channel, I am very pro emotion. I think they're normal. I think they're healthy. I think they're just a part of the body, a part of being human. People, any emotion's okay here. You can come on here and have whatever emotion you want. There's no too emotional here. You're never going to hear me tell somebody they're getting too emotional or too some kind of emotion or to calm down. Now, I might backstage them if they're acting on it and disrupting things, but just having the emotion, I'm not going to try to curb it in any way. You can come here and have it in its full effect. And then we can figure out what to do with it from there. But sitting with it for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Make it okay to have emotions and just sit with them. People have emotions. Let's not pretend like we don't. That's that human layer we talked about, where we're all kind of the same. Validate instead of judging. And that's what I do. I don't think you can judge emotion. I don't think you can moralize about emotions. They're natural processes. And so I don't think anger is good or bad, or rage, or anxiety, or insecurity. I don't think any of that is a moral act. I think that's just the emotion that's happening in the moment. Try to understand it. But any emotion is okay. It's your body communicating, doing its thing. So don't try to interfere with it. Just let it be. Like, let it come out. And the result, the first step of emotional presence is learning to trust your emotions and your emotional system in the first place. And so letting yourself sit with those emotions, you start to trust your emotions. And I say all the time, one reason I'm so defensive about my emotions and being allowed to feel them is because I do trust them. I have built up a strong trust in them over my life because they're almost always accurate. If I'm having an emotion in reaction to something, there's information in there. That emotion knows something. And I need to fully let it come into my awareness to figure out what it is, why I'm having that emotion. So that's a strength. That is a good thing. That is intelligence and information and data. And if you restrict that emotion, you lose that. You lose some of it. And I need as much as I can get to figure out the emotion, the Virgo. So I have a lot of trust in my emotional system. That might be part of the rigidity when people, like when I draw a really firm boundary and people think I'm arrogant, or it's because I know I'm right. I know because of this consistent trust I'm able to have in my emotional system that when I'm feeling an emotion about something or in reaction to something and I've figured out what that is, 99.9%, I'm so confident that I can come across rigid, because unless you can convince me otherwise, nothing's going to shake my trust in those emotions. They've proven themselves too many times. All right. Is it just Frank? Is it just Frank? All right, I'm just going to keep going then. Now we're going to get to relational presence, which is being emotionally present with another person. Not being avoidant, not trying to run away even though it's uncomfortable, and not trying to turn it into content or a performance because there's an audience. Just sitting with the emotion with you and that person or that group of people. Maybe all of you sit for 90 seconds with the emotion. And it says the practice to do here is to attune, to mirror, and to respond slowly. And I guess this is a positive form of mirroring. It says mirror before fixing. When somebody shares something that's painful, oh yeah, I know this one. Just don't call it mirroring. You reflect it back in your own words. So if somebody talks about losing a loved one, you can say like, I know how painful that is. I went through something similar. Or, oh, that sounds really fresh and raw. It just happened. That must be really hard. How are you? But you say something that reflects back that you sympathize or you understand, or there's some connection in your understanding with what they're describing. So they call that mirroring. You don't have to fix it. You just have to let them know it's okay and you can sit with it with them. And the emotion is either also familiar to you because we all have that connected nature, or you're at least able to sit with it and let them have it without judgment. It says to use micro pauses when you feel a reaction rising, when you feel yourself getting defensive. And this happens to me a lot. I'll hear something. Sometimes people will see something in chat and that defensiveness kicks in. And they either pull back or they start ramping up. It says to take a breath, put that pause is so hard to find. I don't know how it is for women, but for men, when those chemicals start, that pause is so hard to find. And if you have any way at all to get that pause, then that gives you control back. That gives you that power. And one thing I've found that helps me is kind of my go-to is ice cold water. Either ice in a rag or really cold water from a sink. And I splash it the forehead, the back of the neck. It shocks that sympathetic nervous system back down to the parasympathetic, and it gives me just a microsecond to pause. It shocks it just enough to let me in there and start taking control of those levers. So any way you can find that pause, that's what you want to do if you feel those reactions rising in relation to somebody else's stories or comments or actions. Keep your eyes and your body open. Soften your shoulders. What does that mean? How do you soften shoulders? Are we going to all be on panel doing this? That could work, especially on the shirtless days. Unclench your jaw. My jaw's not clenched. I am a grinder. Maintain relaxed eye contact. Okay, I want to talk about something here because I do this, or I think I'm doing this, and people accuse me of having this really intense, intimidating stare. And I think I'm just sitting there listening. I'm like, I'm just taking in your story. That's all. I'm not staring at you. I'm not intent. I'm not looking. I get intense when I'm listening because I'm concentrating on the story. But when I try to do this relaxed eye contact thing, it could disturb some people. And I don't know what to do about it. Presence is as much about posture and breath as words. So it's your whole how you come across, your deportment, your demeanor, your brand. Moose mentioned earlier how in kind of this new world with all these new tools, everybody's their own brand. The brand is you now. It's not your channel, your logo. It is you. We are branding ourselves with how we show up on panel, the graphics we use, our styles, and people with their avatars, their screen names. But that was kind of true even with AOL. Every time we met in person, you met as like a screen name and then a real world identity you got to know. But you initially knew them as kind of this online brand. Listen for feeling, not just content. Again, this is another thing that I need to get better at because I'm so focused on the words and the content and the verbal part. I'm not always tuned into the feeling behind it. So when somebody's telling a story or speaking or sharing something, you ask to yourself, what are they feeling while they're telling this? What's underneath the words? And it keeps you tuned in to their emotion rather than just the intellect, just to listen, the verbal. Okay, I'm going to try that. So, Frank, that sounds reasonable. It sounds practical. Yes, it is the AI telling me what to do, even though I'm consciously choosing to do it with my own free will. It's suggesting what to do, and I'm accepting the suggestion, telling me what to do. So, we'll see if it makes a better Jeff. You might love me even more than you already do. Okay, the end result of this step, this relational bonding, is people will start to feel felt. You know how people say they feel seen? I guess they need to feel felt too. And I associate this a woman thing with a woman thing, but I bet it's not. I bet men need this too. That's the heart of real connection, not agreement or insight, but felt resonance. And that's the word Angeline used last night was resonance. And it felt like she and I had resonance by the end of our conversation. And it felt positive. It felt like growth. And it felt like exactly what I am trying to make happen on this channel. So come up and get some resonance. All right. And then one more is the embodied awareness, which is you anchor the present, your presence, not just in the emotions, but in the body. And for people dissociated from trauma, like myself, this is probably particularly helpful. Breathe, ground, and sense. I don't breathe. I don't do, that's not going to work with me. I can't keep my attention on my breathing long enough. Shallow chest breathing fuels anxiety. I'm a very shallow breather. Try breathing into your belly. In through the nose for 4, out through the mouth for 6. That's 2 in your head. I can't be that intentional about my breathing. This already feels weird. Do y'all do this? I don't like it. My whole chest, like it feels like somebody, like I'm in a vice grip, like a metal vice, and somebody's clamping it. I don't like it. This activates the parasympathetic. Okay, it's the same thing I do with the ice water. You're trying to turn the sympathetic nervous system off and switch it back to that baseline parasympathetic circuit, which is what the mode your body's in when it's not under threat. When it's under threat, it switches to the sympathetic and it starts releasing all those chemicals. The adrenaline, I think norepinephrine, possibly cortisol. Ground through your senses. You notice the temperature of the air, the texture, the ambient noises. You just pay attention to sensory information. I'm really, really bad at this. My sensory awareness, my situational awareness is very poor. It's all like a blurry, impressionistic painting. My mind has a hard time focusing in on details. It's just little blobs of impressions. Because I'm so focused on the intellectual part that's in my tunnel. Sensory grounding keeps you from floating off into thought or dissociation. The thing I was doing earlier seemed to help. So I guess find your own technique. It will probably be something to do with the body or getting your energy or your attention from here to somewhere down here. So whether it's water, breathing, rubbing your nipples, something physical, find your own little tool that works for you that you can deploy when you need it in an instant. Ooh, I like this part. Y'all gonna love it. Move or shake after intense emotion. Dance it off, walk it off, shake it off, stretch it off. Emotion is energy in motion. That's a video waiting to happen. Dance, dance. Walk, stretch, shake, hum. Help the feeling complete its cycle. Do something physical to discharge it and get it out. That grounds it and that sends it on its way. And then that's the full cycle of the emotion. And your nervous system stays clear. You get reset. Practice stillness. Y'all can practice it if y'all want. Jeff is not doing stillness. I did a 40-minute silent meditation, only because I didn't know what it was when I walked into it, where everybody sat in a chair in a dark room with a candle for 40 minutes with their eyes closed and didn't say a word. And that was torture. That was hell. That was the closest to hell I think I've ever been in. And I made it through the whole 40 minutes, and honestly, subjectively, it felt like 20. Because I'm like, oh, we're probably about halfway through. I bet I can go another 20, but that's about it. And then, like, 5 minutes later, they called time. Like, damn, that was 40 minutes? That didn't even feel like half an hour. And never again. Never again. So no stillness for me, but I don't want to harsh your stillness. So it says sit quietly for 5 minutes a day. Turn off your phone. Put your phone away. Close your door. Do it when the kids are not around. Turn off your music. Turn off your AI music. Close your laptop lid at least. Notice the sensations and the emotions as they rise and fall. Just let it be music. Just see what sensations coalesce around you. Just feel what rises up in your body. Just do that for 5 minutes a day. You can rock, I guess, because I'm doing it. There's no way I can sit still and do any of that. This does feel healing, I'm not going to lie. And it was collaboration with the AI, so the futures look pretty bright to me. If you're asking me. This feels good, y'all. The only thing missing is like a shoulder massage. All right, I need to get back into my head. They don't tell you that part. Once you get in the body and you need to get back to the head, how do you do that? Whew. It says that builds what I just did, builds the muscle of staying present without escape. So maybe like when there's conflict here or things get heated, maybe we can try this little grounding thing now and help each person to kind of steady. They can have the emotions, but we'll do the little pause, we'll ground, we'll sit with it, we'll be present, and then maybe we'll see what happens with the conversation. And it says if you do this, the nervous system learns. This is emotional intelligence. This is educating your own body, your own emotional system. And I think this is what I did in childhood, we all did, because of the way I grew up. Cajuns are a very passionate, emotion-free people. So we learn all this as kids. I mean, by the time we're in kindergarten, first grade, all the kids know how to do this. It says your nervous system learns that it can experience strong emotion and remain safe and conscious, not flooded or shut down. Oh my God, this is such an insight because that's how I can tell when I'm in an emotionally intelligent culture or not. I can have really intense emotions, rage, fury, passion, whatever. Like they can turn up to an 11. They break the dial. They shatter the glass. That's how high they can go. And I can be completely calm and rational the entire time. It's just an emotion. It's spiking. My mind is intact. It's the same intellect as when the emotion started. My stability is still here. I'm still grounded. I'm not going to act on it. All I'm doing is experiencing it. And people that freak out about those kind of emotions, those are the ones that it's scary to because they haven't reached the stage yet where they can be comfortable with strong emotions. So when I experience that, and then all of a sudden I become like Frankenstein's monster and the villagers and the pitchforks, I need to remember that, oh, they're not at that stage yet. That's why they're reacting this way, because they don't know what it's like for strong emotions to be not a scary thing. So emotions are not a scary thing. They're not gonna, I mean, I guess heart attacks and stuff, I don't want to say they're not going to kill you, but they're probably not They're nothing to be afraid of. And if they get too intense, at least here on this channel, there's things we can do to help. So at least don't be scared here. If it does get too intense, if it does start hitting the walls, I'll trust me to take care of it. So I guess the bottom line is emotions are good. Feel okay. You don't have to feel any shame or anything about them. You don't have to add emotion on top of having the emotion in the first place. All right, and then they say some micro practices that we just like do continuously is these little check-ins. Particularly it says when you're disengaging, when your emotional presence is starting to flag and waver a bit, when you're starting to look around for your phone or starting to browse websites or work on projects, ask yourself, what are you feeling in that moment? What what changed the emotional presence? Why did it withdraw a bit? And some of it is just neurodivergent. ADHD people just do that automatically. It's not even anything personal. But checking in each time just to see why did I just lessen my emotional presence. Journal if you're a journaler, or you can get on YouTube and talk about it. One raw emotion a day, 5 minutes about something you actually felt. Not just the event. Talk about the emotion. Talk about the body. Talk about the sensations. Talk about the effect it had on your thoughts, your mind, what you were imagining, all of that. Like keep it centered on the emotion and your experience of it and its effect on everything else. And it says an end of day scan where you kind of review where did I show up emotionally today? Where did I mask or hide or hold back or was numb? Where did I not have a response where I normally would? That could be a signal of something too. And it says no judgment, just awareness. That's that fifth layer, that detached layer of looking at it from the outside. That's that layer where you start, that's the Virgo thing, where you start sifting through the data and for information and patterns and what you can learn from it. That's your learning mode. And then use community and group reflection. Emotional presence grows fastest in a shared space. And we see this even with the drama, even with the conflict, the blood sports, all that stuff. Emotional presence, those are very emotionally present events, honestly. Um, in those kind of shared spaces where you're witnessed and witnessing others without armor, it's the emotional gym. I've said that before. I really do think, and that's what I want this to be with our little workshop laboratory thing. We can add an emotional gymnasium and a conflict gymnasium, like a Thunderdome cage. And it even suggested something like Drama Lab, and it called it community diagnostics, like when there's a problem in the community to examine it openly using these techniques. And I said, we have that. We call it Drama Lab. We were already doing it. So the bottom line, emotional presence is not about being calm or grounded or steady or open all the time. It's about staying with yourself through whatever the emotion is. So you have the whole continuum of experience, and all of it you're able to embrace or at least accept. And staying with other people's emotions when they're doing the same thing. And that's that fourth layer again, that human layer where we're all helping each other get through this experience that we call life. I think that's a Prince song. And we're all supporting each other. It's like we all have the same model car, and we're all trying to help each other's cars not break down and stay maintained, and by comparing notes, recognizing ourselves and other people so that when they're going through something. I was at a party one day, and they were making some kind of food, and it did not agree with me, and I started throwing up bad. And I ended up somehow in the fetal position on the living room floor. And a friend of mine recognized, he's from Louisiana too, he recognized through my body language exactly what I was feeling. And he's like, oh, I know what he's going through. I throw up the same way. He needs a cold rag. He needs a glass of water. And he started naming the stuff to get me so they could help me. And I couldn't even talk. I was so sick and nauseated. And everything he was saying was accurate. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yes. I don't know how he's doing it, but everything he's saying is exactly what I would be saying right now if I could talk. And he was right. Like he could read me that well just from his own experience with that same activity and that same type of nausea. And it worked. And we had this really strong connection ever since. When we get together, it's like a psychic connection between the two of us. So um, that kind of thing is what you get from emotional presence. And you're able to stay with it in yourself and when you recognize it in other people. Um, and it's offering a group exercise that we could try. So let's see what that is. Staying with what's here. It's to help participants notice, name, and share what they're feeling in the moment and to practice staying emotionally present with others while they also do that. I think this is how we should do this. We really should. It says 3 to 10 people. We're going to do a short exercise in emotional presence. The idea is not to fix or analyze or problem solve. So this is not the problem solving mode that we do here. It's just to notice what's here and to stay connected while everybody shares. And the idea is to practice being with your feelings and with each other and not doing anything about it. Just letting the feelings be and not feeling like you have to do a thing about them. Just let them be there and let them be okay. Encourage honesty and imperfection. The goal is not polished self-disclosure, it's real-time awareness. It's less about the sharing and more about the being aware of yourself while the sharing's happening, both from you and listening from others. Let's see, I'm just going to read through it quickly myself and see. It's kind of a sit in the circle and breathe thing and ground, and then what am I feeling? So it's a little emotional check-in. And there's a little script they ask you, they walk you through. No advice, no stories, no fixing. All the other people do is listen and breathe. After each person speaks, you take a short pause, a little bit of silence. You let it land, you sit with it. And then apparently you break off into pairs and you each take a minute to talk about what's alive for you emotionally. What are you feeling the most about lately? Whether it's excitement, anger, negativity, what is charging you up the most right now? And then the second person, their job is to just be present with that emotion, to try to connect with it and sit with it and just kind of hold it with that other person. And learn to just be comfortable with it. Emotions don't have to be scary. And listen with your body. And then you reflect back what that person said in one sentence from that person's point of view. Like to try to see it from their eye. This is really useful, actually. And they give an example like the person will say, I feel this low hum of frustration that I'm not doing enough. And then the other person to reflect and to rephrase it will say, what I feel from you is a kind of heaviness, like you're carrying too much. And so they try to summarize the emotion they're getting and rephrase it for the person in their words. And then I think you come together and reflect, and then you tie it into what we're doing on the larger channel. Emotional presence is not something you do once, it's a habit. The next time you feel something come up, like rise in you, or somebody, like you get a reaction, you read something in chat or see something on panel and you have that reaction, or when somebody shares with you and it brings some, it like strikes a chord of sympathy. See if you can stay with it for 5 more seconds than you usually can. Just push yourself 5 extra seconds. That's it. And it says that's where the connection lives. That's where it starts. That those little extra pushes to connect. All right, I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to look at comments. Lord, we had 11 people stick around. Thank you guys. You're my new favorite audience. And Frank. All right, there you go. Come on up and get freaky. Let's see what y'all have to say. Tommy. Oh, I haven't seen him in a while. Last time I saw him, he was like touring the West Coast. He was doing live in person stuff, and he would drop by here every now and then. But that was months ago. Oh, you mean with emotions, Daisy? Like rising up? Is it working? Because the flip side to all of this, and having emotions is kind of emotional presence, even if they're undesirable or uncomfortable, or not the ones you want to be feeling. But Angeline and I both have like strong, astrologically it would be Virgo or Gemini energy. They're both ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of the intellect. And when we have those emotions, we're driven to like understand them and figure it out. So we research, we analyze, we study, we try to get to the truth of things, we try to understand them. And that's how we resolve them. But people that are not driven to do that, I'm wondering what they do when you sit with an emotion but it doesn't go away because it requires some kind of active resolution. Yeah, y'all can come up, Freak, Daisy, Frank. We're trying to do health and well-being and growth here. Do you have any more chicken music? Um, oh Lord, there is some convergence going on, but I didn't take it as end time. I took it as beginning times. Actually, it's like the start of something. I really feel like with a lot of these channels, not even just mine, there's a shift. People are starting to take like pimp their channels and take it to the next level, or their work, their brand, whatever they're doing on here. It's a creative renaissance. Oh, okay. It could be that too. Or it could be both because that could just add extra sensitivity or extra like susceptibility to it. But the emotion itself could still be the same emotion you'd be having without it. And I think again, just having that emotional presence, that awareness, and that comfortability with the emotions over time, it'll help you start to tell how much is the candy, how much is an actual emotion. Hey, Shift, this is the perfect stream for you because it's all about vibes and emotional, like staying emotionally present with the vibes and with the other person and not detaching or avoiding or performing. And it said that the takeaway, the little practice exercise, oh, and it gave us like a circle vibe exercise to do. But the takeaway is that when somebody's sharing something emotional with you and you feel an emotion in response, to sit with that emotion and stay with it 5 seconds longer than you normally would, just 5 extra seconds with whatever that emotion is. And they're saying over time that will start to work that emotional muscle. And the idea is to get more comfortable having emotions so that you learn to trust them and that they're not scary and that they're giving you useful information. And then once you trust your emotions, you can show up more. You're not like holding them back and not being completely present. So the presence comes after you develop the trust in your own emotions. And in order to develop the trust, you have to have enough practice experiencing the emotions. So y'all can come here and have all y'all's emotions and tell your friends they can come here and have them too. They just can't break my rules. They can't spurg out on people and curse out and all that. We did that one, Frank. I mean, I'll do it again for money, but we did play that one the other day. It's the sea shanty cow and chicken. 2020 did it was kind of a shift for let's I mean I noticed differences from after and before too, just the way people socialize and the general activity level. Um, like more it seems like a higher rate of introversion than before. People are living in a more introverted way than they did before. But also it amazes me how much normal everything returned to as well. Like the life I have now feels very similar in almost a lot of like almost like 80% of the ways to the life before 2020. I'm still doing more or less the same things. And when 2020 first happened, I thought we were entering a whole new world. Like this was a new phase of humanity. And we had left the old familiar world behind forever. And that's the song I wrote. And I was trying to make it optimistic. Like it's an opportunity. If we're entering a new world, we can use our creativity to make it whatever we want. We don't have to enter just some random world or some world that other people decide for us. We can now make our own world because nobody knows what the world is going to be when this is over. So this is our chance. And that's what the song was about. Empowerment. Frank. Freak. All of you. Y'all should have showed up for Halloween. That was troll day. Well, no, freak. The way I don't want to talk about it too much because YouTube, but the way I understand it, they sacrificed medical, so they turned from medical science for a political advantage in the name of politics. So they didn't use science to justify it. They ignored science to justify it. So it's not the science, it's the people that were making the the decision politically. Whoever that was, and I think it maybe it was even different for different cities. I don't think it was like it definitely wasn't Trump. Trump's not the ones that said y'all go out and riot. Yes, please protect this channel. We talked about guarding the gate and protecting the fire. That includes honor, and it's not even about like avoiding the evil YouTube censors hate track. It's about honor and nobility. I made an agreement with YouTube when I started this channel that I was going to stay in certain guidelines and with the advertisers. And so they're expecting me to have integrity and do my part and deliver that. And in return, they run their ads and they give me a little bit of their coins. And so it's like living up to your commitments and responsibilities as a man or as an adult. And I'm pretty loose with it. I still want to have fun, but I don't take it as this oppressive system that's trying to fuck me. I take it as you knew the terms when you signed up, you agreed to them. Now honor them, and if you choose not to, take responsibility for that. That's you bending the rules for your own reasons, and it's not a big bad YouTube thing. Now sometimes it can be. I had one on my old channel. I had one stream that they took down, and they said it was for misinformation or something, and they gave a little timestamp, and I watched it. I didn't hear anything. The guy wasn't even. He was like telling something about his life. He wasn't even talking about a topic. So I have no idea what they heard in that stream. So stuff like that has happened where you don't really know if you did anything or not. I'm trying to show you have to model if you're gonna be serious about growth and doing the right thing and virtue and all that. You have to model it. You have to show people what it looks like. Otherwise, it's just empty talk. Oh no, this was before. This was way before I even found this part of YouTube. That's when I thought YouTube was normal. I thought I was doing a normal channel about mental health. It was me and some friends, and we had different guests on. We would interview them. We would have actual panel topics, and we would go around and take turns talking about that topic, and then the discussion would be around that topic for like an hour, hour and a half. And then at the end, we would drop the link and we would let people come on and talk, just like we do here. I just didn't know that that was called a panel, like an open panel. But I mean, we still had fun like we do here, but the channel was meant to be taken seriously. We honestly thought we were having helpful conversations that people needed to have at the time. I still think we were. Right. It wasn't until I discovered this damn. I don't want to keep calling it the panel verse. And I don't want to keep pretending that I have not been a part of it myself and have my share in it. Although I'm not hardcore. I'm like way up in the bleachers. Because I don't, if you gave me a test on the panel verse, like a panel verse, I would fail. I don't know enough about it for me to be hardcore panel verse. But my channel and my audience and my panelists, we have heavily intersected with these other channels. And so I need to come down off of my high horse. Yeah, we all do it. I'm a I'm not a drama addict. I don't need drama. I have plenty of I can summon drama like that. I'm a drama magnet. Other people's drama will form around me because I have such a high tolerance. I grew up in it. Our household was very chaotic and dramatic. And I'm used to it. I would just like sit there and do my thing. I'd read a book, I'd watch TV, the drama would be going on all over around me. That's why I was good in the classrooms. That's why I was good in the psych units. Because it's normal. That's my baseline. It feels like home. It feels like growing up. I'm very comfortable. Honestly, when I'm in the psych ward, my nervous system's relaxed. I feel calm. It's like if you're like at a meditation retreat, walking around in this beautiful garden. That's how I feel when I'm in a locked psych unit. My nervous system feels at its most comfortable and relaxed. And the chaos is all around me, and I'm just that little quiet point in the middle, just organizing everything, making sure everything gets done, keeping an eye on everything that needs to be kept an eye on, and just keeping everything humming. I love it. It's that zone, that flow. That mirroring, yes. And I'm going to do a topic on it at some point, but some of that is we all have some narcissism in us. Like, that's just part of being human. Babies are narcissistic. They're not even aware that there's other people. It's all about them and their needs and what they want. But a lot of us grow out of it, or it gets replaced with healthier patterns. But then some people don't. And some people it becomes really malignant and pathological. And um, sometimes that mirroring especially right away, that remember that speed thing, that jumping in too quickly, sometimes that initial high can comes when your narcissism gets activated by somebody else that has strong narcissism, because you have similar narcissisms and you see yourself in each other, and it becomes a narcissistic fusion bond, they call it. It's happened to me. The guy I moved up here for, a big, strong one. It was strong enough to make me uproot my whole life and come up here. It was so powerful. I thought we were like two halves of one super powerful person. But it was all the dysfunction that was being mirrored. Like shadow. It's like if you have the same shadow, it's your shadows that will bond. And they'll be like, he. Now we're double powerful. But you will think it's like this positive bond where it's love or infatuation or romance or something like that, when actually it's your two shadows, and you may not catch it. So look for the mirroring, because some of it can be good, but if it's really intense, especially if it's turbulent, if it's bringing up a lot of mixed emotions or negative emotions or roller coaster type emotions, or if other people around you are noticing negative stuff, that could be a sign. Because a lot of us, most of us probably, unless we're just really good at introspection, initially learn our shadow through other people, through either observing it in other people and recognizing it as our own, or sometimes not recognizing it and thinking it's the other person, or experiencing our own shadow through them, their behavior toward us, that projective identification, where they start to take on our shadow. Or, and this is happening now actually. People have similar shadows, and so they go through a very similar shadow crisis. And it's like they're fighting the same shadow, except it's each their own shadow. And you start to not be sure if you're fighting your fight or the other person's fight, or if they're fighting your fight or their fight. And so it becomes like you're fighting the same monster because your shadow journey is so similar. This is not, I don't even have the AI up. I closed it. I closed it when I put the link. This is not, this is Jeff. All this is Jeff, not AI. The AI is just a collaborator. Just think of it as another panelist. It's not always there. It drops by when I summon it up. We do our little interaction, and then it goes away. I'm still the brand. No, I don't. You're just trolling. I think this is AI, Frank. Evil AI. Like what happened in 2001. And that's that mythic thinking. Look, the larger theme of all of this is going to be, I'm trying to break the content up into different series, or different series are naturally emerging, and I'm trying to go with it. But one on Brotherhood, developing Brotherhood, which is the community and connection part of the channel. And so the whole point of emotional presence is to start connecting with other people and start to form that close brotherhood that I'm trying to form here. So each one of these tools or these topics are designed to kind of build on the earlier ones and start. That's how you build. Like you lay your foundation and then you start building the structure. Well, yes, and it's called self-help. That means you don't have to listen and you don't have to do it. It's for me, myself. It's what I'm doing with it. And other people can come up and do it on their selves. And some people can stay in the chat and whine about it and troll and try to ruin it for everybody else. You don't think I'm well prepared for that? But the good news is the topic's over. It's been over. I'm just interacting with the chat. Anybody can come up and just do a hangout panel now. Sunday is like our Sunday, our reset or our refresh, where we kind of review the week before and we transition into the coming week, because I'm going to start to structure this theme. So there's going to kind of be weekly cycles. And Sunday begins this next week's cycle. And Monday, tomorrow we have men's night, men's group, men's support. Story night on Tuesday. Members night on Wednesday. Thursday is just experimental. Something random will happen. And then Friday is our hangout, our free for all. Frank has troll immunity. He's earned it somehow. But he knows if he crosses a line, he's getting bounced like everybody else. He doesn't get any special privilege. I think it's good to have a fool around, a truth teller, a jester, a troll. So that's why we keep him. And he's turned out to be a pretty good friend, I'm not going to lie. He's been a big source of support for this channel and personal support. Well, there's no shortage of them here. I think this is where jesters go when they don't have an actual court to be in. That was a compliment. Quit being obdurate. Well, if there's no panel, I don't know. I could hang out if you want, but I just wanted to get the topic out, really. I don't plan to stream again tonight. I think I'm going to save it for the men's thing. But if I get a hair, I might throw up another topic. But the AI was telling me that not to overdo the topic. Like they said, do one portion of theory for every two portions of everything else. And I've been doing a lot of theory. Mostly because I want to get it all down, because it's active in my brain right now. But, and the other thing, the other part depends on y'all. The storytelling, the hanging out, the problem solving. And if people don't come on panel, then all I'm left with is me monologuing, which usually turns out to be theory. All right. Well, I've gone over an hour. I feel good about it. If nobody else needs the space, I'm here to serve. The space is open. If nobody needs it, I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday. Thank you for being here. Um, I am greatly, gratefully appreciative of this audience because when the channel shifted, I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I'm just thrilled to death that there's people that do want to hear that there is resonance with. So thank you for continuing to be here. All right. I'm gonna do the little Pims thing and then we'll play Frank's chicken song. Oh, urge, reverse, back up. We just got us a guest. Guest. A guest. The famous, the world famous. I think you know somebody in Nigeria, at least.
I do. I do.
Welcome. You made it home.
Yes, man. I did. I've been home for a week, but I had to basically leave that Friday because that's when my flight was scheduled. But dude, that fucking storm that rolled in, that was rough.
Oh, the rain. That's what that was.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Well, how did
really
it
bad.
go?
I didn't get the job.
What?
Nope. Didn't get it.
Did you
Yeah,
want it?
yours. Yeah, I mean that's why I applied for it. But yeah, I mean yours just as
What is
surprised
wrong
as I
with
am.
them?
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't know. I don't know if it's just not the right fit for them or if it's legitimately what they said, which was they're just going to go with different
Did you
applicants.
sense it
But
while you were doing it, or did it come as a surprise?
the whole thing was a fucking weird experience, dude. They're really hard to read, um, um,
Yeah.
but they're really hard to read. Like the whole interview process, which I had uh, 3 or 4 interviews. I can't remember how many. I lost track, but yeah, it was even during the interviews, it was just really weird. They talked less about my skills and more about who I am, which I understand because they have a workplace culture that is really important to them, and they want to make sure that they're hiring the right people and they're not going to ruin it. Like one of the interviewers was like, yeah, we'd rather keep a position open than hire someone that's not going to be a good fit.
Wait, what do you
Um,
say?
they said we'd rather keep a position open and vacant than fill it with someone who's not going to be a good fit.
Oh my God. That's,
Um,
yeah, I think that's what they did to me.
yeah, and so I think they just they had the inkling, which I think they're wrong, that I would work well for them, and I think it's stupid. But you know, I mean, what do you do? You press on, you move on, you keep going, and you keep doing what you're doing. But ultimately, I'm happy that the whole thing's over with, just because it's just, you know, it's stressful thinking about it, and you know,
So
you're
you're
having to
just going to stay
plan
where
my new
you are?
life. And, yeah, for the time being, I might try again in a couple of years, but then again, I don't know. I don't know if I want to give that energy to them. But I'm also possibly being reactive, so I'm just gonna let it die, and I'm just gonna let it be. And you know, when my son's graduated and out of school in 2 years, start looking at other things. You know, that's a possibility. Um,
I mean, that sounds reasonable or
but
realistic. 2 years
they
is anybody
they
can do
literally
anything.
paid me to come and visit my friend Jeff, so I'm not
Uh,
gonna fucking complain.
a, f- a free trip to the outliers.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I mean, I got to hang out with you, and we got to have lunch together and talk physically, like in the same room.
Yeah, it was weird. It was,
Um,
I regret we didn't have more time, but it was
yeah,
good getting a little taste.
you and I both. I mean, but it's nice to finally get to meet you in person, and more importantly, just to be able to, you know, sit down with you and actually meet you face to face. It was great.
See, folks, it can happen.
Certainly can.
Break stuff. So what's new in your head or in your heart, in your down here in your body?
Hold on just a sec.
Uh,
Can you hear me better?
oh, a lot better.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. I had my microphone on my headset. I keep forgetting to check that. Um, what do you mean?
Oh, we were talking earlier about emotional presence and sitting with emotions instead of avoiding them or
Oh, well,
using them as
that's a good
content.
opportunity to talk about it then, huh?
Yeah, like because the idea is to, in order to connect with somebody, you have to be able to be emotionally present. And in order to do that,
Yeah.
you have to be emotionally present with yourself first, and be able to sit with your own emotions and learn to trust them.
Yeah. I
And
think there's
then
a
you can
caveat.
sit with someone else's emotions, and then you can start to have that connection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to partially and mostly agree with that. I think the difference is it's kind of a measurement problem. When do you think you're going to actually be ready? You know what I
Well, it
mean? And
came
what?
from the AI, so it's you're wrong.
Yeah.
No, seriously,
AI.
what part do you measure?
Exactly. So, how do you know when you're emotionally ready to take on a relationship?
No, that's
Like,
the point. Like you're always emotionally, like always be emotionally ready. Don't ever try to not take it on.
right. I'm not saying that. I'm saying um, when I got with my wife, I was pretty. Um, I felt like I was pretty emotionally ready, and for the most part, I was. But I learned so much from her, and so much through the process of being with her, and um, I realized how stunted my mental health was as a man, just due to the fact that you know I've grown up my whole life as a man, and uh, living in a society that really doesn't give a shit whether I'm laughing or crying, you know. So I always thought that my partner would was looking for someone who was a protector and a provider and you know all those things, and it's like part of that's true, but she wants a fucking partner to live with through the rest of her life. She wants somebody that she can talk to, somebody that she can divulge her secrets and her issues and know that they're going to be respected, acknowledged, and heard, and yeah, I think there was. I'm already a very emotionally intelligent person. I just think that I had a lot more to learn. So it begs the question: how do you know when you're ready? Well, I think you know when you're ready when you have a partner that pushes your boundaries a little bit in good ways. Like, I would have stayed the same person if it wasn't for my wife. So clearly, I needed to do some learning, but I needed the catalyst for that learning too, and that's the catalyst that she was. She's made me a better man, a better husband, a better father, significantly better father, um, than the one I was already. She challenges me. She says, "Hey, do you think you're fucking wrong about this thing?" And I'm like, "No, but like I'm listening." And then she'll come out of left field with a reason why I should reevaluate my response. And there's no way to fortune tell whether you're ready for that. But I can tell you can have some tools in the toolbox, which are, a critical thinking is a big one, because you have to be able to face problems with a critical eye and a critical mind. But also you have to hear, and you have to grow the fuck up and not take everything like it's a personal slight. You have to be able to hear and listen to criticism that you don't like, but understand and acknowledge that it's their feelings about you. Doesn't mean it's fact, but it's definitely
That, the
feelings.
feeling underneath the words, that's one thing we were talking
Yeah,
about. And some of us have a hard time tuning into that or identifying with it because we're so focused on the verbal part.
yeah. Well, I shared an interaction that I had with somebody in the comment section of a Facebook video, and it was about men and how we deal with things. And I just made a nice, polite comment. I'll see if I can put them up here, and you can put them up. I've removed the names. I'm trying to remember how to add shit, but I can't remember.
You gonna share your screen or put a link?
I don't know. I don't know about doing
Uh,
that.
If you
But
want, you can drop the link and I can take a look at it and figure
no,
out
it's
the
okay. Let
best way
me.
to share it. Or you can just copy it into the back chat.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do about that. Hold on. This fucking thing's being weird.
And so you commented and it generated some emotion.
Um, you'll see what I mean.
That's Frank. I really feel for you. That sucks. That's an emotion I can sit with. I paper cut myself at work the other day. I don't even remember how. Yeah, I hated paper cuts. Ugh. They should make a horror movie about paper cuts.
Right?
That's something everybody can relate to.
Let's see. I'm gonna try and put them in the chat. Do. Trying to remember how to do any of this because it's been so long.
Well, you see how he is today. Now we know his origin story.
What's that?
He was telling about the paper cut he had in the third grade. Oh, third page. Well, I'm imagining it was the third grade. It has to be early enough to have traumatized you and crippled your soul.
Uh, won't let me share from my
You just
Google
swapped the
Picture
K
account.
out for a B.
So, anyways, I'll just explain kind of the little bit of shit, like the main premise of the video that I commented on, and it was basically men need to learn how to control their anger and their frustration and how they interact with women, because women are dominated and controlled by men who are emotional. And I was like,
hold the fuck on here. You're telling men that we're too fucking emotional is the exact opposite of what I'm trying to fucking do. You know what I mean? So I decided to make a comment. And I didn't argue with the creator of the video, who's, he's a content creator. And so he's not going to reply to me, but the people in the comments did. And um, basically, I just said, there was a response in here, and it was a guy, and he said his name's Don, and he said a large number of men, if not all of them, if not the majority, are all afraid to express emotions because of accusations like this. I was like, yeah, yeah. And then there's two comments down. The next two comments were, you're too emotional to even receive the info. You immediately thought it was an accusation. You're emotionally stunted.
That's the gaslighting.
That's the gaslighting. And then the second one down is, it's not an accusation, it's an observation. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. An accusation is absolutely a component. Or, I mean, how did I put it? I'll just read my comment, which was, then it should be presented as such. Instead, he makes a truth claim, which is a component of an accusation. Conversely, if he was to ask if X, then Y, that would be an observation. And I even gave the content creator all the credit, all the cherry. I gave him every point that he had. And I was like, I don't even disagree with this person. And I said, I don't even disagree that what he's saying in the video. With that said, on statement is an observation, as he didn't propose all men, but the majority. And it's accurate, though it misses nuance. In my experience, it's become obvious that many of those who identify as men or who were socialized as men for birth, because that's the kind of room that I'm in here. So I'm kind of using the language of the know your audience. But so I'm using a lot of like wokish speak, but you'll get the point. But who were socialized as men, at least, were never taught the vocabulary to talk about their own feelings. As our parents, mothers, fathers taught us that the world doesn't care about how we feel. Yet we see our little sister's emotions being given weight and credibility.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah, you can't sit in a space of
That
healing
was
when
my
you tell
whole
men.
childhood conflict.
Yeah. Um, so you can't sit in a space of healing when you tell men who were socialized from birth to suppress their feelings by the very people, especially mothers, who were supposed to tell us that, or who were supposed to teach us that vocabulary. And lastly, we're taught to suppress, which means what happens when we can't any longer? That's right, we explode. And then we're called violent, abusive, and controlling, like the man in the video said clearly, without ever being given credibility of our own trauma as children. You want to fix the patriarchy, um, start supporting men's mental health, and teaching our sons, like I'm teaching mine, as I've gone through therapy to use the words that invite men to express themselves in healthy and constructive manner that doesn't scare women and be controlling, and heal ourselves as well as future generations of men. Right? That seems reasonable. I didn't make any accusations. I didn't attack women. I didn't attack the creator. I didn't do anything, right? There was nothing in there
I
that you
have
would
one little
find.
quibble with it, but yeah, it doesn't sound
Right.
inflammatory.
Everybody's got one little quibble with it because everybody has opinions, and that's okay. That's not the problem. The problem is the response I got in return to that, which was this lady. She said the term accusation is problematic because the creator is not attacking men as such. I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, he was. It's okay. He's simply stating a fact, a reality that we all know is true. It's not a fact, and it's not a reality every single person knows is true. Like, there's actually a lot of studies done on this. Like, it's not fact, but that's okay. I didn't argue with that. I'm like, that's an opinion that's okay to have. There's nothing wrong with that. And again, when I'm doing this and I'm looking at these, I'm not taking it personal. Something's happened in this person's life that has primed her to react the way that she has. She says, by the way, no amount of emotional labor that women do and have done to support men can counteract the misogyny that the culture is swimming in. Not my fucking point, not the point of the video. Well, actually, it was the point of the video, but not the point of my comment that I left. Like, I said nothing about this. Misogyny absolutely exists, and so does misandry. Like, what's your fucking point? And the country isn't swimming in it. Like, it's definitely worse than it used to be, but now you have a lot more people coming out of the woodwork saying, no, I want a husband who is controlling. I want a husband who knows what he wants, where he's going, what is he doing. I want a husband that's successful. Whether they're not they're going to be happy in 10 years with a emotionless human, I don't know. But anyways, so it goes on, and she says, if I understand you correctly, you want women to do the work to heal men on top of the care that they provide their children, their parents, their coworkers, etc., while also healing from the very real trauma that they also already are processing from the constant harassment, abuse, and aggression and assault and violence men inflict on them regularly. Pretty sure nobody saw where I said anything fucking about that in my response to the other guy. Um, and she's like, okay, seems reasonable. Not. Or no,
That's what she
sorry. She
typed.
says,
Seems reasonable, not.
yeah. So she goes on. Hold on, I
She's
gotta
made me laugh
go back.
5 times already.
Yeah, and she says, as we speak, little girls in the U.S., Canada, and around the world are having their clitorises sliced off without anesthetic and their vagina sewn up to be ripped open by her husband, who will be old enough to be her father.
How did that end up on my channel? Oh,
I
because it
don't
always
know,
does.
dude. I don't know. She faces repeated infections, agonizing and debilitating periods, and horrific shaming and abuse. And you want me, women, to care even more about men's feelings so that they can
6
stop
times.
abusing their families. Okay, seems reasonable. Not. Like, I have another comment that I'll go into, but like that is exactly the thing that, you know what? I'm just going to read my next comment because it's the best. I said, ma'am, you just proved and provided the perfect example of what my point was. You heard nothing I said and heard what you wanted to hear me say. At no time did I say that women are responsible for men's feelings. I made it clear that it was a collaborative effort and to start teaching boys young how to discuss their feelings via vocabulary. I also made no mention of clitoral amputation or its equivalent, male circumcision, which is a religious perspective that I find equally abhorrent as you, but made not even the slightest inclination as to it as part of my statement. You proved both my point and Don's point exacerbatingly well. I wish people would just hear us. Instead, we get this. And that's what I left it at. I was done with that conversation. I don't need to expound anymore because something that I think as men, and it's just as human beings, we need to learn when to shut the fuck up.
Who
Like,
determines that, though?
you do. Like, so perfect example. I could have gone on. I could have fought this lady on the fucking internet, right? What would it have done? She
Yeah, I
wasn't.
was wondering why you engaged with her at all.
I did. I engaged with her
I
once.
couldn't take her seriously from her very first comment. She had me
Right.
laughing.
Yeah. So my point though is like at some point in time we have to learn as human beings, and I think men really need to learn this. It's like you need to learn when the fight is worth the fight. In this case, I could see that she was not even open to what I said because she heard so much about what she wanted to hear that it's pointless moving on. You're not going to convince people if they're in a place where they don't want to be convinced. You have to wait until they're open for that. So it's a great part of the book that I keep proposing everybody read, which is How to Have Impossible Conversations by Peter Boghossian and James Lindsay. It's a phenomenal book, changed my life. In that they said, if you feel like you're up against a brick wall, fucking stop. Why are you beating your head against
I
a
do.
brick wall? It's not going to change anything. Like you said
Yeah.
what you needed to say. You learned that they are in a place of how did they put it in the book? They're not willing to move and listen and hear truth, whether it's your truth or the truth or whatever. They're not willing to hear that. So you can't have a serious conversation about advancing the issue because there's no way to do it. They're not going to hear you. And at that point, you just need to walk away. You need to learn to when to walk away. If someone's having a polite conversation like you or I would have, where we're just talking and we're trying to get to the bottom of something or we're trying to find the truth, even if it's a disagreement between the two of us, we can have a rational conversation and be like, you know what, I can see where you're going with that. I can understand that your concept or your perception of what I said would make you feel that way. Like I completely understand that. It was not my intention. You know, you can have a rational conversation with someone who is willing to have a rational conversation with someone. But conversely, you can't do that when someone is sitting there listening and hearing something completely different than what you're actually trying to discuss. So you have to learn to walk the fuck away.
She probably
So
just wanted to get laid.
she wanted to fight. That's what she wanted.
Yeah, I walk away all the time. I mean, I learned that growing up. Drunk people and crazy people, like not to even waste your time talking to them.
Yeah.
They're not even gonna remember it the next day. They're not even gonna remember that you had the conversation. Why would I spend time on a
Yeah.
conversation that's just gonna erase itself?
Yeah. And she's drunk on her own, on her
Yeah,
own.
she wasn't paying attention either. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would not have even responded to her first comment. But
Yeah. Well, I
you're
didn't
right.
respond. Yeah.
Learning what conversations are worth your time or not. I try to
Yeah.
identify those pretty quickly.
Yeah. So that's what I talk about. Is like there's a lot of you have to be emotionally ready to be in relationships, and it takes a certain wisdom and practice to become someone who can listen in a space that feels uncomfortable without having to feel like you have to respond. She was, yeah, she was against men's emotions. Like she never once
But
addressed
all that
anything
was
that I said.
canned. That was like nothing she said was an original thought. She plucked that from the rhetoric that goes
Yeah,
around in those circles. She's just
yeah,
like repeating talking points.
yeah. And then I
That's not
posted
even
that
a
to my Facebook.
conversation.
So I posted those screenshots to the Facebook, and I removed her name because I didn't want her being attacked for it or anything like that. Like, I'm not for that kind of shit. But anyways, I posted it in a Facebook post, and one of my more left-leaning acquaintances commented on it. What did they say? It was ridiculous, and it's more of the same thing. And you'll see what I mean when you hear it. But uh, yeah, this person said, I still see a lot of binary thinking in this rhetoric, especially in the comments here. And I'm like, that's not the point of the post. It's not the point of the video from the original content creator. That has nothing to do with the point that I'm discussing. You want to have a problem about how I talk about men and gender? That's fine. We can have that conversation. Whether I agree with you or not is irrelevant. It's the fact that it has no place in what we're discussing. That is something that I find that people on the very far left like to do, to move the conversation away from what is uncomfortable, what they don't like, and shift it into their domain so they have control and power over the conversation. And I don't tolerate doing that.
I just
So,
ignore them. Like they don't have power if I'm not even paying attention.
right. That's one way of not giving them power. The other way is, acknowledging when someone's trying to do it intentionally and still keeping your cool. Like, keep your cool. Nothing is going to be served by you losing your temper and losing your shit. So I wrote like a whole post to this person as a comment reply, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it because now I'm making it about them instead of the thing that I was commenting on, which is men's mental health.
Oh yeah, they're hijacking it.
Yet they're hijacking the conversation. They're emotionally hijacking the
Yeah,
conversation.
that center of gravity is moving. We learned about drama gravity the other day.
Do you know what kind of other people do that?
Besides YouTubers,
Yeah, there's a specific. Um,
the Amish,
no, 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 no,
uh,
no, no, no. There's a certain personality type that hijacks emotions like that.
narcissist.
Like a narcissist.
Oh yeah, narcissists will hijack anything for supply.
Yeah, yeah. And this person, a lot of their stuff is very centric based on themselves. So, I try not to clinically analyze people and you know profess that someone's a narcissist because I don't have that skill set. It's not in my wheelhouse.
I don't have to
And
clinically do it because I have enough experience dating
yeah,
them and living with them that I can draw on that to notice patterns.
right. But it's kind of like the Goldwater test. How do you determine if someone is mentally ill just from the outside? You can't. You need to have
You
more
err
access.
on the
You
side of
know,
caution
right? You err on the
or
side of caution.
probability.
You recognize toxic personality traits and behaviors ahead of time, as fast as you can. And when you see it,
Yeah.
you fucking stick to your analysis of it, and you
Yes.
say, "This person is
Yes.
not seeing what we're talking about here, and they're trying to hijack my very emotional state where I care about men's mental health." And it's well, I don't know, man. There's a lot of mental maturity that you have to have as a man, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying I'm there yet, but I do see a difference in my reactivity, in my aggression, and in my internal peace and happiness when I finally learned how to listen without being offended by what my partner or by what others think. I don't give a fuck about
How did
what
you
you
learn
think
that?
of me.
What was the turnaround?
Well, I think in part we're Gen Xers. We don't give a fuck anyway.
Oh, just yeah, our own socialization.
Our own socialization, but I think I think a big deal was is that I had a spouse and I had friends that created a space or maintained a space where I could be wrong and I could make mistakes and it wasn't held against me, so that I had opportunities and room to grow as a human being.
So there wasn't
Like
that
I
pressure
was
to like always be
no, no,
the
there was no
perfect
pressure. The
leader.
only the only pressure that was ever on me was pressure that I put on myself,
Yeah.
to be successful in my marriage. And it's I was never disingenuous. That's not what I mean. Um, what I mean is that I had set goals for our relationship emotionally, and that's not good, because to describe that, I was like, I want my wife to have a space where she feels safe. That's a huge goal for me. But how you think you should create and maintain that versus how she wants it created and maintained is a very different
So
story.
it wasn't collaborative. It was just
It
you.
was absolutely collaborative, but
Oh,
I think I had to do a lot more emotional work than she did. But at the same time, she had to have a lot of emotional patience for my bullshit. So, um, it was fun, to be honest with you. It was fun learning how to be a better person. Yeah.
and probably still are. Like it's an ongoing
Oh yeah. Yeah, but
process.
we also have really in-depth, very vulnerable conversations with each other quite frequently. But we can do that because we trust that the other person's not going to be like flip out and be like, "Oh no, blah blah blah," and "Oh, you think I'm just an asshole," like my ex-wife did a couple of days ago. She was like, I'm not doing X and X," and I'm like, "I didn't say you were doing X and X. I just thought that we had already finished this conversation." Basically, she was assuming that I was insinuating that she was a loser, or whatever. I was like, I didn't
Why
make
would you
any.
say that? Does she not trust you?
Because she's primed for that. Her
Oh,
her growth, her childhood, her relationships have bred in her a behavior that should be the response. And so being with her when I was married to her was difficult, but now being co-parents, I have to approach it differently, because I have to realize that my son is watching, even when
mm,
he's not. So when I interact with her and I talk to her, I try to talk to her as I would want my son to see. So when I'm not blowing up at her. I'm having compassion. I'm listening. I'm patient. Like I'm actually listening, not just listening for a response, but I'm listening for the feelings. I'm listening for how she's feeling. But I also don't tolerate bullshit. I'm not going to tolerate someone hijacking the conversation. I'm not going to tolerate someone changing facts
yeah.
via their own
That
opinions.
makes
I'm not going
conversation
to.
hard.
It does, but you have to remain calm. Otherwise, they win. They want an emotional outburst out of you. They want
But
to.
that's not a conversation though. If that's the goal, is to either get an outburst or avoid an outburst. That's not really a conversation. That's something
Oh God,
else.
no. Yeah, that's emotional manipulation.
Because
But
I like my part. I want to be with someone I can just talk. I don't have to worry about
yeah,
if my emotions at a certain level, because then they're going to do this or think this or that. I just want to be able to talk and have them to be able to listen.
I think the two things that I learned that helped more than anything, and this came from that book, How to Have Impossible Conversations, was to alter cast, which is, are you familiar with the term alter casting?
Mm-mm.
Let's say that we had a disagreement, and I said, you know what, Jeff, I'm really upset, and I want to talk about this. I want to talk it through, and I feel like I can do that with you because you have always seemed like you're a very good listener. You're a very good analyzer. You listen. You don't just blow up at people, right? I'm priming them, or I'm priming you in this case,
Oh, like grooming.
kind of like grooming, but it's not grooming.
Is it intentional? Like I want to tell Jeff this thing, but let me do this little setup first.
Yeah, it's absolutely
Oh my
intentional
God! If
because
I knew that, I would be. I would. The trust would start to waver right there. I'd
did I
be.
say
Why doesn't he just
anything?
tell me? Does he not trust me? Why does he have to do this little manipulative setup? Just
Sure,
tell
and
me the
it's
thing.
fine. That's fine. But did I say anything untruthful?
No, but it. And I would not. I would not have even
Okay,
noticed. It all sounded completely normal until I
right.
asked you if you were doing this intentionally with a purpose.
Yeah. So the reason is that you want to create an inviting space where everybody can be heard and everybody can listen, everybody can stay calm. They can actually hear what you're saying rather than trying to figure out a response because now they feel like they're intelligent. They feel like they're critical thinkers. They feel like they're good, honest people. They feel like they're being respected and seen in a good, positive light. There's not It's not manipulation so much as it is reinforcing the best qualities of that person that you want to see in the argument that you're going to have or the conversation that you're going to have. And then the second thing is if I can remember, because I got off track there for a second, but um, I forgot what I was talking about. Holy shit.
The
Um,
like, do you want to have a conversation with me, and you feel like I could
oh yeah, yeah.
because I'm a
So
good
like,
listener, and you're kind of like setting up to
right, you're
have it
setting up
tilt toward the outcome
everything.
you want.
Right. Well, not the outcome I want. It's the outcome that the situation requires. We all need to be on the
But you
same
don't hang
wavelength
on though,
here
hang
to
on, because
figure
my
out
flags are
what's
going
going
off.
on.
You don't know what that outcome is till you start talking to me and we collaborate. So it's like assuming ahead of time that your outcome is the one that needs to happen before we even start collaborating.
No, no. The goal is the search for truth, right? So if I was to say, Jeff, I don't like the way that you treated me the other day, and you're like, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about, right? So we already immediately have a difference of opinion about what happened yesterday, right? But because we're both primed to be open and to listen and be heard, what you're doing is you're creating an environment where we can have a discussion about something that might be very emotional, but we don't have to be emotional about the conversation.
Or, and this is what we talked about today, or we can be emotional and we can just sit with that emotion and still have the conversation. The emotion doesn't have to disrupt the conversation if we can learn to sit with them.
Well, I think that yeah, the emotion's not going to leave you, but you're just better prepared to control it during that conversation.
I control it. Like, other people freak out more about my emotions than I do. I'm never, when I'm having an intense emotion, I'm
Yeah,
not worried that I'm not going to control it, but everybody else gets distracted by it.
yeah. Well, I don't know.
So assuming the control is there, like it to me it's like babysitting emotion. Just you're trying to set up a certain emotional like expectation before you tell the story, and for me it's better if you just tell me the thing and let me have whatever emotion comes, and if it's uncomfortable we just sit with it, but it's not going to stop us from having the conversation or you being able to tell the story.
Yeah. So if I was to talk to you and then you just suddenly blew up at me and be like, I never said that, blah, 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 right? I'd be less inclined to talk to you about it in the future. I'd be less inclined to talk to you about anything in the future if that was the
because
response
of
that I
the
knew I was
intensity
going
of
to
the
get.
emotion.
Because the intensity of the emotion, because nobody wants to have to deal with that.
I
Like,
think, but some of that's because, like, where I come from, it wouldn't be a barrier. Like, that wouldn't stop anybody from talk. So some of it might be cultural in how emotion is viewed. And it wouldn't stop
maybe,
me if I was to. I talk all the time with friends, and it gets very heated, but we still have the conversation, and then we come to some kind of resolution
yeah,
after, and the friendship continues on as normal. And so, like,
sure.
strong, heated conversations don't bother me. They
And
don't
that's
make me.
fine.
They don't make
They
me
bother
not want
me.
to tell the person something in the future. It's just
Yeah,
a
but
normal part of conversation that
high
sometimes
emotional
happens.
situations don't make me feel comfortable at all. I'd rather not be in the conversation at all if that's the case. Because I've had too many bad experiences of my own feelings just being dismissed because the other person's overly emotional. Um, but the point is that you're setting the whole conversation up to be more open and more inviting and more like I've done this in podcasts where I've turned around to one of the speakers who was super emotional and been able to turn the whole conversation around and get them back on track with being able to hear different
God, we
things
sure could
and
have used you about 2 weeks ago.
stuff like that. Yeah. But it's I would recommend everybody read that book. It seriously changed the way I think about conversations and debates. And I mean, my wife read it too. And the funny
And
thing
it's
is
how to
like
have
how to have
difficult,
impossible
impossible
conversations.
conversations.
Yeah. But me and my wife both read that book, and when if we're talking about something, and she'll use something out of the book, and I'll be like, "Oh, you're using the thing out of the book," and so I'll sit intently and be like, "Okay, I know where this is going. Let's see how this plays out," because we both know how it's supposed to work. Or I'll do it, and she'll be like, "Oh, he's using kind of like a trigger word to let me know that like this is the method that we're using now." So we know that it works. It works very well. It helps us in our dialogue to each other when we're talking about very difficult conversations or about difficult topics, especially some things that are very personal. Um, we had a conversation about shame the other day, and that was a great conversation. But um, like it's just weird to be with someone who has as much interest, if not more, to how I feel as a man, and to help about healing me through a lot of the poor societal behaviors that I've learned over the years. So going back to what the topic of your conversation was, is I think I can't possibly nail it down to one thing, with the exception of you have to do fucking work. Like you have to do the work on yourself. You
Hmm.
have to be ready to acknowledge things,
Hmm.
talk about things, and not be all fucking hoity and fucking defensive when someone approaches you about something that they don't like about your behaviors. Um,
I agree. I'm learning that
it's
myself.
whether it's hey, you leave the toothpaste off, the cap off the toothpaste, or you don't clean up after yourself after the
What,
shower,
is that the
or
kind of stuff you're talking about, though? People get emotional over that?
people get
Or, like,
emotional about a lot
like,
of
take that
things.
kind of stuff personally?
Yeah, there's tons of
Oh my
people that
God.
do. Like
That's,
I had an ex that would like absolutely flip out if I stayed up late and didn't go to bed with her. Like,
yeah, those usually don't last long with me.
no, it didn't last long for me either. It was like a 3-year relationship, and a 1-year marriage. But um, I don't have to worry about that with my wife. She is an introvert, so that's very helpful. But she has no interest in controlling me as a human being, and that's something that has proven out over a 10-year relationship. And she understands that I don't want to control her. I do have a responsibility to protect and nourish my family. And if there's something going on that is keeping that from happening, then I have to speak up and I have to be a little bit more forceful about my feelings. But aside from that, like she gets to do the same thing with me. Like I have a tendency to ignore my personal health. Well, she'll sit there and she'll just stare at me and she'll like playfully nag me, be like, "Hey, you wouldn't have this problem if you went to the doctor and figured this whole fucking thing out." And it's like, yeah, you're right. You know, and this is the fun thing, and it's not meant to be manipulative at all, but just like today we were talking about money, and I was like, I spend about $20 a day on food, at work, and she's like, that's like $160 in a paycheck, and I'm like, I'm aware, and she's like, that could be a date with me.
$20. That could be
you
a date
know
at KFC.
and it's just funny because she's 100% right. She's not wrong about any of that. Like, I could save that money and take her out on a date every paycheck with the money that I spend on food at work, but she
But
didn't
then you'd
mean
have to
it
not
to
eat every day
be
too.
right. She didn't mean it to be,
Oh,
and because I understand her intent. It was there was a smile on her face and she's joking around, but um the intent wasn't to shame me or anything like that. It was just to highlight the fact that I spend $160 on food every 2 weeks, and I'm sitting here complaining about finances.
that's
So
cheap though.
it
160.
it is, but still, that's $160 you can save by making yourself lunch. But the problem is, I'm so bad at doing that.
Oh yeah.
Like, and I'm one of those people. I have a hard time
Well,
eating
make her
leftovers.
do it. She's supposed to make the sandwiches anyway.
No, no,
Oh.
that's not the position I hold. Um, but she has in the past, but um, I don't make her do that at all. But yeah, so I think going back again, like, you have to be ready for that. You have to be ready for those feelings, and you have to be ready to hear things that make you feel uncomfortable or guarded or shameful or attacked, and you have to sit with that and realize that no one does anything because of you. It's because they have their own hangups, their
Hmm.
own issues, their own situations, their own upbringing. Like, they're not attacking you; they're attacking the behavior that is promoting a negative experience in their feelings,
Yeah,
and
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 that's what I'd rather focus on.
understanding that. Now, if she was to make an accusation about me as a person due to how I spend money, that would be a different story. I'd be like, hold on, back the fuck up. My paycheck is my fucking paycheck, and I will spend it however I see
That's
fit.
right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But she didn't do that. She knows better than to do that. That's A, it's not who she is, and B, it's not how our relationship is built. So there's a difference in when you need to be able to, confront the problem and when you need to listen to it. And accusations, whether they're false or true, is not has no place in a relationship, I don't think. And that's a broad statement. I realize that, but
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Even if that's what you're trying to communicate, there are better ways to do it than an accusatory form.
yeah,
We have a. Oh, I forgot. We're getting a tour of the woods today.
nice,
Welcome track. He's out at a cabin for the weekend.
very nice.
Yeah, I hope it's not too dark out here.
No, it's perfect. It looks Blair Witchy. So cool.
Almost a little bit too dark.
Are those? Oh, those are the lights from the other day.
Yeah,
The little footpath lights.
there might be more lights on in the house that would make it look better.
Oh, track. This is cool. How you doing? How's it going over there?
Oh, doing good. We went into town.
God, I love this.
It's gorgeous. It's fucking gorgeous. Is this your house?
Oh, hell no. We're just here for the weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
But my wife looked it up. She does this everywhere we go. Maybe if I turn it this way. Looks up like the cost of like what if we wanted to make it our house, and this one's like just under $1 million. But that's why
It's
we
probably worth it. You get the little lights and everything with it. I guess so. Look at that. That's a big
And we got
place.
I mean,
Is it a home or is it just a weekend retreat? Or could someone live there?
Somebody could definitely live here, but the area around it, like you damn near have to drive for 30 to 40 minutes to get like to a gas station or a grocery store.
Oh, that's my kind of place.
I don't know if you guys can see the creek.
I see darkness and void. I'm staring
Yeah.
into the abyss.
Yeah. Kind of missed the daylight. Maybe I'll catch you tomorrow and before the sun goes down. But just out
That'll
here in
be. Are you out?
silence.
Are you there tomorrow? Tomorrow's our men's night. That would be perfect.
Yeah, we're
Could all
going
be out in
home
the woods with
on
you.
Tuesday. Got a little picnic table. So you can sit out next to the creek.
Yeah, Steve, I'm doing the Monday men's thing again now. I'm going to make every Monday
Nice.
night be men focused, support men's
Fuck yeah.
issues, topics.
That's awesome.
Yeah. They say it's this big black bear area.
Oh yeah. When I was up in Tennessee, we would see them in the road. The cars would have to stop for them.
But apparently the black bears are the ones, they're the more friendly,
Yeah,
smaller.
they were harmless. They were very adjusted to people.
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff, would you bring up a comment in the comment section?
Yeah, which one?
Sophia Daisy May. She made a comment. My ex did that to me, and it's trying to come back in my life. So I want to address that really quick. It is not your responsibility to heal other people, but to heal yourself and hope that that person can exist in that same space. Conversely, also, I should say, if someone is depleting you, like enough to the point where you have to comment that they're actually depleting you, that's an issue for you. I think it's going to be that way because what you're doing is actually partially enabling the behaviors too. And if they see that you continue to take it, they're going to continue to do it. And I want you to be protected. And so I would, my best advice is, like, you have to tell them, look, I'm fine with helping you with this right now, but at some point in time, you have to take over that aspect of your relationship with yourself and to do it yourself. I can't be your therapist. I can't be your savior. I can't be your guiding light in this existence if this is what it's doing. You can't deplete yourself like that. So I just wanted to comment on that because that's something I see a lot. And remember, they're your ex for a reason.
Right. And if you're in a healthy relationship, friendship, coworker, anything, and you're feeling depleted, that's not healthy. That's a sign that it's not healthy. Healthy relationships don't deplete you. If anything, they energize you. They restore you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, my wife restores me every day I come home.
Track is, and what could be greater than this in the woods? I love this.
But yeah, that's I think the only ex I would go back to is my current wife if she ever became an ex, because I guarantee it would have been my fault.
Oh, right.
Like,
You better hang on to that one. And it sounds like you are.
What?
Hanging on to her successfully.
Oh, dude, the whole reason why I wanted to move up to Washington was to give her something. I don't care where I live. Wherever she's at, I'm going to be happy. I'll be fine. It just so happens that I love the area too. So I was kind of excited to go up there.
I keep telling by the culture up here is weird. It really is. They do a lot. There's like an inner circle, and they do a lot of gatekeeping.
Well, they're not too big on like fanciful exhibitions of wealth, it seems like.
Mm-mm.
So.
And going back, okay, this is what I want to talk about because you mentioned at the beginning, and it's related to this sitting with the emotion thing.
Yeah.
In this culture, and I noticed other cultures, what I'm calling emotionally avoidant cultures, as opposed to emotionally like comfortable confronting an emotion. If you have an intense emotion, that is read as aggression. Or if you draw a really firm boundary, that is read as aggression. and then
Hmm.
you become the aggressor, and the drama triangle starts, not the person that you were initially drawing the boundary against or having the emotional reaction to. It's like Darvo. It reverses to your perfectly
Right.
normal, healthy reaction is now the issue in an emotionally avoidant culture because you're
Yeah.
disrupting everybody else's emotional. They all protect each other's emotion, and you're a
Yeah.
threat to that now.
Yep. It's a manipulative tactic,
Yeah, it's
which is
to
weird
keep the
how.
emotional level at a certain level here because people don't want it any higher than that. They're avoidant of it.
Yeah, and they want to maintain control of your feelings, of your experiences.
Yes,
This is
yes, yes,
partially a component of gaslighting.
yes, and enabling and victim blaming.
Yep, absolutely.
So
Um,
they might have done you a favor, honestly, if because I've talked so many times about my struggles up
yeah,
here. That is part of it. Is this weird culture?
it is. It's a very weird culture. Like I said, like the interview process was fucking weird. It was weirder than any other interview process I've ever had in my life, and I've applied for a lot of jobs in my life. But I can see where they're coming from too, where they want people that are going to match the vibe of the workplace because they want to protect that. And a little story going back here is at one point Janicki was not doing well. Like their attrition rate was horrible with their employees, and they were trying to figure out what was going on. And so they started an investigation and found that there was a toxic work culture in existence at the time because the managers were just assholes. So they ended up firing all the managers, like all of them, restructuring how their work culture is going to be, saying this is what the work culture is going to be from now on. They only promote those that are going to work well in that position. So they base it off of merit and attitude
And
rather
emotion.
than what some companies do. And like Northrop is one of those companies. Is they hire the person who's been there the longest, or they promote the person who's been there the longest. It's not a meritocracy in the fucking slightest, and it causes some problems because that's like a lot of air bases do the same thing. A lot of military compounds do the same thing
It
when the
doesn't
active guys
sound
working
like
there.
this company was a meritocracy either, because they prioritize cultural fit and like emotional vibe and harmony over competence. Because in a meritocracy, it would be skill based.
Right. No, I think it's a
It wouldn't matter
component of
what
how
your
they do it.
personality is or how the people feel around you feel about you. You're hired for being able to deliver a certain skill set, and now they're hiring
Right.
for how comfortable you make everybody feel as a leader.
Yeah. I think there's a certain a merit to that, which is you can teach almost anybody to do something, but you can't teach someone to not be a fucking asshole if they're an asshole at their heart. You know what I mean?
But
And they
I
just
don't.
don't
That's
want
not
to
a
take that
priority. I don't
time.
care if competent people are assholes.
It's a priority for them, and that's fine.
Right.
They have
That's
that
what
prerogative.
there's a shift
Yeah, but
from merit to I don't know what you call it, like social cohesion.
yeah, I don't.
Cultural fit is the term they use up here.
I think the best terminology for it would be um,
Harmony.
it. No, it's a social construction of comfortability, and I don't know if that's always going to be the best way to go about doing things because at
It
some point in
seems
time you have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is can you do your fucking job?
right.
And it just so happens that I think I would have blended well with their people. I think they were wrong in the decision that they made, but it's their decision. It's okay.
I
I'm not
saw you
hurt by it.
interact with the locals here a little bit. You fit right, like you were doing fine. You do better than I do.
Yeah.
You took to it like right. I was amazed at your skills.
Well,
So
that's
I
the person
wasn't
that I
worried
am.
about you.
Yeah. I mean, you got to see the person off camera that is,
Yeah,
me.
Steve is really good with people and being social and in public. He's better than I am.
Yeah. So I
He
think,
can smooth and talk to people and adjust and read the
yeah.
room and like match his personality to theirs.
Yeah. I've always been really, really good at that. I'm kind of a social chameleon in that sense, but it's sad. I am sad about it because I really did want to move up there. Like I really did. And it was a
I
huge
mean, are
benefit
there
that
other
I know that my
opportunities?
wife would be happy there too. I mean, there's always going to be opportunities. What we're going to do now is we're just going to double down on what we're doing here at home, and we're going to, focus on her career, my career. We're going to focus on achieving the goals that we want, which is, to be debt free. We also want to own some property that we can go camping at, that's clear the hell out of the way of all society. And we're just going to focus on that. So it's fine. I'm just glad that the whole thing's over with, because the waiting was killing me.
Yeah,
The expectations were killing me,
yeah.
and it's fine. Everything's okay. It's just a bummer. That's about it.
Well, I
But
wouldn't internalize too much of it or take it too because of the
no,
cultural element here. Like it's
I'm
not.
not.
It cannot possibly be all you.
I don't think so either. I think they got the wrong impression because they were looking for the wrong impression.
They
That's what I
like
think.
soft men. You're gruff. Like you're manly.
I am.
Manly people don't do well up here. Even at work, I notice they kind of get ostracized and marginalized. That the
Yeah.
softer ones are the ones that seem to integrate better.
Yeah, that's definitely not me. Like I can be soft in my moments, but for the most part, me and walking in my daily life, especially at work, that is not who I am. I'm all about meritocracy, and I'm all about um, competency. Like the two things that, and I'll freely admit this, like the two things that piss me off, and I mean fucking light switch. I don't have a choice in the matter. Is inconsiderateness and incompetence are the two things that just absolutely fucking light a bomb in my head. Like fundamentally, those two things piss me off more than anything else, because I think the reason why is because they're intentional. Um, and what I mean incompetence is intentional. Is like you have to be in a position where you're supposed to know what you're doing, and then not fucking do it. You're intentionally
You think it's
incompetent.
like passive aggression?
I don't know, but if someone gets hired and they were like clear about the fact that they didn't know what the fuck they were doing, that's a whole different story.
But you know how many people there are out there like that actually don't know how to do the job and still got hired somehow because the labor
Yeah,
pool is so small.
yeah, I get it. It still fucking pisses me off.
I mean, that's as
You
a
know?
customer, yes, that's fair. There's a reasonable expectation that the service is going to run smoothly. But
Yeah.
also, I have very low expectations to begin with. So if I can like get in there and get my product and get out, I'm pretty much happy. I don't expect velvet glove 5-star
Yeah.
service anywhere anymore.
Yeah. But the second one is the one that really gets me. Like
The
you have to
inconsiderate.
be intentionally inconsiderate.
But some
And
people, because some of that's cultural, because I read as inconsiderate to a lot of people, and I'm not intentionally being it. That's just what they think I am.
I don't know. I would want to argue with you on that, because I think we have a very, very good, clear set of social expectations of people.
No, no, not for
Um,
Spurgs, not for people from other cultures. That there's a lot of assumptions there.
I want to give that to you. I really do. Perhaps my problem is I'm not being defined as much as I should. So we'll take an example. Is like the state that I live in has consistently scored in like the top 10 of the worst drivers in the United States. Super, super uh, rude, inconsiderate. They don't follow traffic laws like they're supposed to. Um, it's almost like a turn signal is a challenge to them. I've turned on my turn signal to get over, and I've had plenty of space, and I've watched people fucking floor it to just not let me into
These
their.
are Mormons?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and that's
Well,
why
that does sound. I
in
mean, it
this
sounds
case,
selfish, if
well,
anything. Like I understand drivers trying to get an advantage.
it comes. This is why I say it's not cultural, because like it once these people get out of their car, they may or may not be like that, but it's so rare to find drivers on these roads that are considerate. Um, and it's frustrating, but there's also other things. It's like the shopping cart test. Have you ever heard of that?
Yes, I have, and
Right.
I'm one of the people that puts it away. But there was a guy on one of the panels that said that he did that for a living, and he actually hated when people put him away because it he had nothing to do, and he was hoping that there would be people that would leave him out so he'd have something to do for his
Yeah,
job. And
but
so
that's
because of
self-interest.
that, I wrestle now. I'm like, should I leave it out for the guy or should I put it? It introduced doubt.
The guy got hired because there were enough assholes in the area that was happening. Like he might be like, yeah, that's my job, but it's like, what else could you be doing
I
that
mean,
wasn't
we have to
picking up
do that at my
after
job every
other
now and then. They call a
assholes?
cart run if you're available. You go
Yeah,
and grab a few. It's not a big deal.
sure, but like now he's got time to do something else. Like the idea that people need to be assholes for you to have a job is a ridiculous, ridiculous assumption to make.
Wait, say that again. The people have to be assholes or what?
Like if people have to be if people need a job, how did I put that? I don't even remember how I put that. Um, if your argument is that in order for you to have a job, there has to be assholes, that just doesn't logically play out to me. Um, it just doesn't make any fucking sense. It's like
And
murder should be
asshole is
allowed because,
subjective. One person's
you know,
asshole is somebody else's
well,
perfectly
let's
cool
face it, leaving the
person.
shopping cart out is an asshole move. Very few exceptions to that rule. Like
I
if
don't know.
you're
It
if you're
doesn't. I guess it doesn't
really
bother me if
handicapped,
I
it's like,
see
okay,
people leave
that's
shopping
fine.
carts out.
You know, I know there's a lot of places that allow or not allow, but they don't frown on it when someone in a handicap spot doesn't put the cart
Yeah,
away. Excuse
I don't
me.
worry about
And
that
that's
either.
fine. It's like you've got a physical disability. That's okay. Like we understand. That's perfectly fine. That's cool. But if you're a completely mobile, capable person of putting that shopping cart away and you don't, you're an asshole.
You sound like Serial Mom
I don't know who that is, but they're
from
an
that movie
asshole. Not
where
Serial Mom, but
like she has these really rigid ideas of how people should behave, and when they violate it, she goes and kills them.
yeah, I'm not doing that.
She goes
But
psychotic. Like if they wear white after Labor Day, she goes absolutely psychotic, and then she starts planning how to kill them for
yeah.
violating her little rule.
Oh yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
It's
But
John
you
Waters.
know, the thing is like we all have this understanding because we live in a society that has societal expectations, and one of those societal expectations is you don't
They're
murder.
very loose though here in America because there's
And that-
so much diversity.
They might, but it's still there, right? We still have this understanding that we don't murder our neighbors or we don't do these things, like we don't steal, these things that are necessary for social cohesion. Like uh,
Yeah,
I don't
that
want to
kind of
call it
stuff. But
social
then there's a
contract theory quite as much, but you get the basic gist of it. It's like we all understand that it's not beneficial to society to be assholes to each other. It's just not beneficial to anybody. But
I mean,
at the
sometimes it
same
is.
time, we have to understand that people can be themselves. Like someone being an asshole really has no bearing on your life. They're just being an asshole.
I don't care if people think I'm an asshole. There's plenty of people that don't. That's what I'm saying. It's so individual. If some people, some percentage of people will probably always think you're an asshole, and some percentage won't, and then there'll be that middle. And I don't really worry much about where strangers fall on that continuum.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm admittedly overly concerned about the state of society, but at the same time, there's parts of me that just doesn't give a shit.
Are you
But
pessimistic?
no, I think I'm just a realist. Um,
What do you
you
think
know,
the worst thing happening is? Like the worst
no, I think a
danger
glass
of
half full
society?
is not a glass half full or a glass half empty. It's a glass that has half as much water as I want in it.
Oh,
you know.
you just need more
So
water
yeah, I
in it.
just need more water. I don't give a shit whether it's half full or half empty. But yeah, I don't see the point in being a pessimist about that kind of stuff or an optimist about that
Because
stuff. I am an
we get a
optimist
lot
about
of
other things
doomers
though.
on here that just are living in a dystopian hellscape, and there's
Yeah.
no hope for the future. And a lot of it, I think, comes from social
Yeah.
media.
I think so too. Like, I think the vast majority of people want to do good. I think the vast majority of people want to see good done. And I think social media, and I think this is part of the problem with men's mental health and men's issues entirely, is this perception that, um, unfortunately, we've gotten this rap where we're all horrible people,
We are.
and this has happened with black folk for a long time. It's like you've heard. I mean, there was Ben Shapiro who said, black people are responsible, 13% of the population, but responsible for 50% of the crime, right? It's the same thing. And when people mention that, I'm like, okay, well, how many black people are there? 13 million. How many criminals are there? There's like less than a million who are black and in prison right now. It's like I think it's less than 250,000 if
Same
I
with
remember the
men,
number
like
right.
how men are violent. But the
Right,
amount of
it's the
men that
same
actually
thing.
commit the violence is very small.
It's very small.
Most men can be trusted not to act on their violent impulses.
Yeah, because guess what else we were taught? You should never hit a woman. Like we were all taught that. Every single fucking one of us. If you weren't, there's a fucking problem in your past. But the rest of us,
As long as
we
they
were
don't
all
hit
taught
me.
that you don't hit a fucking woman. Like like every guy is nodding their head at home right now, because we were all taught the same thing. So this idea that we're exclusively violent towards women is just ridiculous. But it's one of the things that we have to face because I think third wave feminism really did a great job at demonizing men. And it's really unfortunate that had to happen because your old school feminists are like, no, we want men to be healthy too. We're just saying we want the same thing that men have. It wasn't until third wave feminism where you saw this wholesale attack on men.
I really do think that's where it started. I mean, it was in the background with the other, just like all of the gay and trans activism was in the background of the traditional gay rights movement, but it
Yeah,
wasn't problematic. And when that
right.
other wave hit, like when the queer trans wave hit and the third wave feminism hit, that's when it all came out.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. Is like you saw during the '80s this huge like the whole gay rights movement, the whole LGBTQ movement was love is love. I remember growing up around old school gay men, and you couldn't offend those guys enough to make them lose their fucking temper. And I was present for some of those things. They would just be like, "Oh, honey, that's okay. You can have that opinion, but it's wrong," And but you could not get them to lose their temper because they, like, as a movement, they drew a lot from Martin Luther King, and they realized that if they fought back, if they were violent themselves, it would beget more violence on them, right? Because you're going to have pushback, equilateral pushback. And so the premise is that we show people that we're good human beings.
Hmm.
We're members of society. We pay our taxes. If we have children, we love them. We're
It
no
was more
different
like
than you.
we're just like you. We're the same as you.
Exactly.
And now it's look how different we are from everybody else, and how special and unique of an identity that you'll never understand. And we need all this special stuff to live in society.
Right. It's done this weird shift. Um,
But
and I
ours was
will,
about making that bridge and that connection.
right, right. And it seems like the intent right now is more to demonize the rest of the country that doesn't agree or approve rather than fighting for equality. Because I mean, with very few and rare exceptions, there's nothing that, LGBTQ people don't have a right to as
I
well.
never get a clear answer when I ask, other than the
Um,
sports and the bathrooms and the child
yeah,
gender
discrimination is the big
treatment.
one.
But those are very specific issues that can be discussed and debated. But
Yeah,
in general, they have all the rights everybody else. Now, I think
yeah.
he did do the military ban, which you could make a case against.
You could, but it's not a very strong one. It's really not. Because having been in the military myself, we always had the saying is everybody bleeds green here. Like the military, despite what anybody who has ever served wants to admit, it's very communist in its nature. It's very, very communist in its nature. You're all the same. You go through basic training to learn how to be the same as the guy next to you and the guy next to him. There is a high degree of uniformity in the military. It's the same thing with communism. The structure is also very similar. You have, local heads of state, in communism. I can't remember the name off the top of my head because I wasn't thinking about it, but commissarios or whatever. And you have the same thing in the military. Like the military is very, very, very communist in its nature. But yeah, I mean, the military is a wild conversation to be having that debate in, because it's like we're all green here. We all are expected to do the same fucking thing. We're all trained as infantrymen first, or infantry persons first, which means our first primary job is to pick up a weapon and fucking shoot and kill. That's our job. The second job we get, which is our MOS, is what we're trained to do to support the military. So for me, it was, doing what I did. And, that was my primary MOS. Well, actually, my primary MOS was infantry, but my secondary MOS was heavy wheel mechanic. But if shit hits the fan and you got to pick up a rifle and put down the tire iron, that's what you got to fucking do. That's what you were trained to do. So this whole debate about whether, gays in the military should be allowed is fucking utter ridiculousness.
Well, now it's trans. I think gays can stay. It's just the trans.
Yeah, I understand that there's some
because they consider it a medical disability or psychiatric disability or something.
Yeah,
because it's classified as a mental illness.
Yeah, and I think that's ridiculous, because I mean you can have depression and serve just fine.
I thought there were some mental illnesses that disqualified you too.
Yeah, depression is one of them.
Oh.
But I knew plenty of people that were manic depressants and did their job just fucking fine. Plus the military creates a lot of people who are depressed too.
I mean, I don't have a problem with trans people being in the military.
I don't either.
As long as they can do the same job as everybody else.
Yeah.
And I don't think competence is the reason for the ban. I think it's
it has nothing to do with competence.
Cohesion,
they wouldn't be focusing
unit
on their
cohesion or something is their argument.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the same one they try to use for gay people.
Yeah, the unit cohesion is the big one, and it's just like I don't think they understand the argument as well as they think they do. Because I think any good operating battalion, platoon, company, squad is going to give a shit about how the other person identifies. They want to know, are you going to cover my back? Are you going to get me out if shit hits the fan?
Yeah.
That's all they fucking care about. And well, primarily, can you get the mission done? If you can do all three of those things, then it doesn't matter how you identify. You can identify as a fucking cockroach. I don't give a shit. As long as you can pull me out of a fucking bad situation if I get injured, don't give a shit. You know what I mean? So, expecting the military to be this high and mighty position, I think, is a ridiculous proposition. It's not that fabulous either. But yeah, I don't understand it. There's just let people fucking do what they want to do. Like, this whole country is built on the premise that you can be whatever you want to be. And somehow people have forgotten that fucking argument. Like, I don't give a shit what you are. But
I don't hear any arguments really against somebody being something. It's things they're trying to do as a result of their being that have the potential to affect other people.
Yeah, but that is a misleading argument, because it's like you're responsible for your own feelings about what that other person.
But no, I'm talking about stuff like indoctrinating kids, medical treatments on kids, women in sports, bathroom stuff. That's not like, oh, well, you just have to be responsible for your feelings. That has legitimate impact on their ability to compete and win, and women being comfortable in the restroom and all that stuff. Like the whole reasons we have the separate restrooms. So there's many underlying issues besides just people's feelings about it.
Sure, but none of those, you don't have a right to feel comfortable. It's listed nowhere in the Constitution or the Bill of Rights.
That's why I don't worry about being an asshole.
Right. So those are all inconsequential arguments. Those are social arguments. And I don't think they need to venture into the political or the military for that matter. I don't know a single trans person, and I know plenty of trans person. I don't know a single one that advocates for child abuse or that advocates
But
for.
they do advocate for medical treatment at like my own minors, and a lot of people have a problem with that.
I know one, and even they're a little bit hazy on the topic. I think what we see that we're seeing in the media are the most extreme of the extreme. I don't think this is normal. I don't know. Like I said, I'm embroiled in the left, and I don't know, but maybe one that would advocate for that. And it's such an easy argument to dismantle that it's not even a concern for me.
And on the right, I hear almost nobody talking about being trans as the issue. It's the things they're trying to do, the things in the education system,
Hmm.
the medical system, sports. That is where the objections are. It's not just we have a problem with you being trans and
Yeah,
living your life as a trans person. That's not the argument. But they're
yeah,
being put forth like they have a problem with the existence of trans people. That is what the issue is. And if they take the time to listen, that is not what the complaint is. It's not about being trans. It's about some of the policy changes that they're wanting as a result of being trans.
yeah, yeah. Um, I generally shy away from this topic because it's one that you just doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't seem like there's any
We don't
traction
have
in
to
it.
have it because we've had it plenty of times on here. We
Um,
even had a few trans co-hosts.
yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like,
But I just want the right painted fairly, and the issue is not
right, yeah, 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 yeah,
like don't be who you want to be. We want you to be somebody you're not. That's not what they're saying. That's not even what they're not trying to do that. That's not
well,
what's
they are,
happening from the right. Not from what I haven't seen it on my part of the right.
yeah, woman, adult, female. They're basically saying that you are not what you say you are if you're trans.
They are an adult human female. It's not a false statement.
It's not a false statement, but
And
it's
they're
it's
not
a,
telling somebody what to be by saying that. They are making a completely a perfectly accurate observation. And if the person in their head is something else, they're not saying not be that, but they're saying from their where they're looking, they fall into this category of adult human female. And if people want to reframe that or interpret that as saying don't be what you think you are in your head, they're not being true to what the people are actually saying. They're not interested in understanding and seeing it from their perspective. They want to keep it in the frame that serves their agenda,
yeah,
which is to
yeah.
demonize your enemy instead of trying to understand your enemy,
And you
which
don't
gets
think
us in
that statement
this
demonizes them?
polarization cycle that we're in.
Do you think that statement, adult female, is not doing the same thing?
What is it doing? It's not a
It
false statement.
it's
Is it
it's
just
not a
hurting
false
their
statement, but
feelings? I
it's
thought people have the
never
right to not be comfortable and we can be
it's never been
assholes.
about that. It's always been about literally that, like, that statement was created in contrast and in disagreement with trans people.
Adult human female has been around forever. It's
Yeah,
a very neutral medical term, a scientific term, adult human and female. It wasn't
sure.
put together as a reaction to trans. And it's always been around.
Yeah, but dog whistles have also been around for a long time too. Dog whistles are
So
notoriously
then how do you
difficult
know
to
it's a
read.
dog whistle? Anytime you hear it, do you just not trust the person that they're describing an adult human female? Like you think it's a hidden code they're using?
No, I think it's a hidden code thing because I can automatically and immediately tell what their political ideology is. Like, it's so easy. And I'm not saying that they're wrong. That's not what I'm
I
saying.
don't automatically read transphobia into somebody using the term adult human female. That seems like escalatory to me,
It is
unnecessarily,
escalatory.
without actually finding out what the person thinks.
Yeah. Well, Sophia, yeah, you should definitely have him read that with you. Very good book. I think you'd both benefit well from it. And it's not a big read. And it's one of those books that's designed as such to be able to go back and refer to it multiple times, so that you can practice each component of the book. So what you're supposed to do is like start out small, start with the first set of ideas and learn those really, really well, and then move on to the next one. But try to incorporate the others as you remember them. But eventually, like if you go through all of them, you'll become really good at them. As a matter of fact, I would recommend anybody watch Anthony Magnabosco on YouTube.
Let me look him
He
up.
uses that method exclusively during his video series, which is called Street
Mag
Epistemology,
Nabasco. Okay.
where he basically goes out and has difficult, almost impossible conversations sometimes.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
street epistemology.
yeah, yeah. Like if you watch that, you'll get an idea
I wonder if
of,
he'll come on my show. Here, I'll drop the channel.
yeah. It's almost like magic when you watch it the first time, but there is actually a method to it, and it's really fascinating. And you might
Is
pick
that
up on some
the
of the
same stuff
cues.
that James Klug does? Because he's sometimes out there with Peter.
I don't know who that is.
He's a little YouTuber that I follow.
It might be. They
That
might
like
be doing the
goes
same
out
thing.
on campus and interviews people, and I think he does
Yeah.
similar
So
stuff. And then
Anthony
Peter goes
Magnabosco
out with
started
him
that.
sometimes.
Yeah, and so Peter went out with Anthony Magnabosco once,
Okay,
and
so
they
yeah,
didn't know each other.
this is
They,
Peter's little crew.
yeah, but he started doing street epistemology when he first read Peter's. I think it's his first book, which was an atheist's letter to Christians or something like that. I can't remember the name of the first book. I haven't read it, so that's why I don't remember it. But started doing street epistemology, and then How to Have Impossible Conversations came out, and it made his game even better. Um, but it was really fascinating to watch. It has been fascinating to watch him work, and he's been to like multiple states. I know he's been to Utah before. Like he'll go on to college campuses and debate with fucking LDS missionaries or people who are going into theology and all sorts of really cool stuff. And like some of the admissions by the end of the conversation have been fascinating. Fascinating. The guy is a fucking master at his craft. But the main thing to understand, Sophia, is the goal isn't to win an argument. If one of you loses, then you both lose. Like the whole point of learning how to have impossible conversations is to be able to primarily understand what your conversation partner is thinking and feeling. That is, it's the search for a version of the truth that you
Yeah.
can understand, that you can get behind, that you can reasonably understand, and then ask them questions about their beliefs in a way that doesn't elicit negative responses, that breeds open communication. So for example, you want to use open-ended questions rather than closed questions, like no yes or no questions, preferably no yes or no questions. They all need to be like, can you explain to me how you feel about this? Or let's say they make a statement and you'd ask them, can you explain to me with a little bit more detail how you came to that conclusion? Stuff like that, and get them talking, because the whole point is to get someone's thoughts out of their head so that you can examine them, because a large majority of us, we think inside of our head, we come to conclusions inside of our head. That's probably the worst fucking person that you should have on your side when you're trying to figure out a belief. So it's important, and once those beliefs are put out there, then we can critically analyze them and get to the bottom of why you hold that certain belief. Therefore, we're scrutinizing belief a lot better. But when it comes to
Yeah.
a relationship, that's where it really gets really interesting, because now you're trying to search for that other person's truth. Why do they feel like I'm being a jerk? Or why do they feel like I'm doing something that is intentional, which most likely isn't? Because we all have behaviors that have been somewhat programmed into us from experiences. Um, so trying to get to the bottom of that, or listening to your partner when they are talking about their own feelings about themselves, and you can critically analyze that, be like, okay, well, why do you think you're this person? Why do you think that you are this way about this thing? Tell me more about that. And it sounds almost like a therapist, but really you're just asking questions. It's really the whole point of it. And agree with them when you agree with them, disagree when you disagree with them. But you have to learn how to do it in an effective manner where it doesn't seem like it's a competition or it's combative. If you do that, then it's amazing the conversations that you unlock when you're able to actually follow that book like really well.
I guess the goal is
So,
to keep the defenses low, and so
mhm.
if there's too much of that intensity or aggression, it could raise those walls, like even
Right.
involuntarily.
I
Like,
think they even talk about that in the book. Is like you want to keep the emotional level down. Like you want to keep it in a place where everybody's calm. Um, I wish I had the book that I lent to a friend who that was completely bookmarked. Like there was just fucking it was just like bookmarks everywhere. It was
oh,
funny. It almost looks like it almost
I
looks like
wonder. I
my
like how copyrighted it is. I wonder if it's
it
stuff we
almost looks
can
like this where there's
work
just
with
like
on
tons
stream.
of
Oh yeah,
like bookmarks, and that's
that's a
the Gulag
used, but
Archipelago.
that's a book that's been put to use. It's not
Oh
just
yeah,
read.
yeah. I've been an avid anti-communist my whole life, but it's exactly how the book on how to have impossible conversation looks. But I lent it to a friend and bought another one. But I need to get that one back and send this one to him. But yeah, it's an amazing book, and despite how you feel about the authors, because they're very anti-trans. I am not, but I like to read books that have different opinions than
I
my own.
I don't think
But
they're anti-trans.
they are.
I don't
Peter
think
is
they have a problem with
absolutely.
the existence of trans people.
Um, well, it's irrelevant because they leave all of their politics out of the book. There's
Okay.
no politics in the book whatsoever. They're very smart. They know better than to do that. They want widespread use of that book. It's the most advantageous use of the book. But I know a lot of people who won't read a book because it was written by a lefty or it
Nobody
was written
reads
by a
books
righty, and
anymore.
it's just like you got to read different perspectives, or you're just creating an echo chamber for yourself. Um, but yeah, I've actually got a friend who's trans, and they're reading JD Vance's book right now. But
Oh,
they paid me a huge
is
compliment. They
it the
said the only
Hillbilly Elegy, or
reason
did he write a
it's a different
nonfiction?
book. It's his second book, I think.
Oh,
But they paid me a really amazing compliment where they're like, "I would have never done this if I didn't know you."
oh, that is, oh, wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's pretty fucking dope.
that is
And I love that person very much. They're an
opening
amazing human
minds.
being. But yeah, so the whole point is to understand your conversation partner. Where are they coming from? Why are they thinking the things that they do? Because until you
Well,
do that, you can't resolve the issue.
here we frame it as like trying to see it from their side, their perspective. And you try to understand what it looks like from inside of their brain.
Right, right. Very much
And
so.
and I do that through dialogue. That's my only way to get to that perspective is I have to be able to talk to them,
Yeah,
ask them questions, like clarify details, home in more on the picture and get it sharpened. And I do all of that through conversation and dialogue.
yeah. And there's a lot of things that they go through in that book as well. They go through what's called the illusion of explanatory depth, otherwise called the unread library effect, which is
What
where
library? What kind of library?
someone, huh?
What library?
It's the um oh my god, I just fucking said it like 5 seconds ago.
Something explanatory effect.
No, well, it's the depth. It's the illusion of explanatory depth, or the unread library effect.
Unread
That's what it was.
library.
Basically, what it examines is how people believe they know more than they do. It's kind of like the Dunning-Kruger
Oh
effect a
yeah.
little bit.
Hmm.
But it's like if you ask someone how a toilet works, and they're like, "Yeah, absolutely, I know how a toilet works. You know, you flush the thingy, and water goes down, and it takes your poop away." Well, that's not how a toilet works. That's the function of the toilet, but that's not how the toilet works. And it's amazing how many people make that mistake with their own feelings, with
Well,
political
wait,
beliefs,
hang on. Let's
religious
clear this up
beliefs,
for the
and all sorts
viewers
of
and the
things.
host. How does a toilet work?
Well, it uses gravity, has a water bowl, right? And that
Okay, that's the tank at the top.
that's the tank. The weight of that water forces water into the toilet bowl down, And because of the gooseneck, once the water reaches a particular level, all of that water then goes down the toilet. Yeah. It's very simple, right? But if I didn't know how it worked, I would just say, I don't know how it works. Right? It's easy. I don't know. Like, people need to get more fucking comfortable with saying, I don't fucking know. It's a perfectly reasonable response to have.
Yeah, but then you lose. There's loss of status.
I don't fucking care about
Potentially, you
status.
risk loss of face.
And I
And
don't care
competency.
about...
You appear less competent.
Yeah, to a complete fucking idiot you might, but to anybody who has any degree of wisdom will realize that you're being an honest human being. And like, okay, well, at least he's not fucking lying to me, saying he knows more than he does. You know, it's, you know, fools love company. So, you know, read into that as you will, but the book is amazing. I cannot fucking preach that book. It is the #1 book I recommend to everybody. Out of all of the fucking books I've ever read, and there's a lot of them. Like, if you can look, there's like a shit ton of books there, and I've got more books scattered around the house. But out of all the books I've ever read, that book did the most for me, and it is the most critical book for anybody to read, especially when they're wanting to have conversations like this or in any other format. Specifically relationships. It does wonders in relationships. But I have to go pretty soon because I got some shit to do. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably wind it down soon anyway. I'm gonna play Moose's video and close
Yeah, let's
it
see
out.
this video. What is it?
I don't know. It's brand new. It's called Nietzsche's Shadow, and it stars Snowfire from the chat room. She is the model for
Nice.
the girl in the video.
Let's watch it.
So I'm gonna let's cue it up. We'll take a look, and then I will come back and join you. I'm excited. Every single video he does is better than the one before.
That's Starfire? Wow.
I woke upon the current stream where depth was drowned by noise. 1,000 empty flashing screens reflecting borrowed joys. The currency is shallow thought, the wisdom is a mask. We share the lies we never bought to simply stand and ask. Why does the human heart betray the truth it knows so well? We crave belonging, come what may, escaping silent hell. We chase the pulsing dopamine dust to feel the digital heartbeat. The viral comfort born of trust, the triumph of the street. Nietzsche's shadow long and cold across the fractured pain. A fear of being unseen, untold, that drives the endless chain. But truth demands a lonely walk, a courage hard to find. While everyone is taught to talk, the rebellion starts in mind. I choose the pause, the sacred space, the stillness in the fight. To turn away from the marketplace and rediscover light. The noise will tire, the screen will fade, the emptiness reveal. Only in silence is truth made, the soul begins to heal.
God.
That's gorgeous. That's amazing.
Wow. The moose once again at the.
Fucking moose.
I love seeing the logo at the end.
Delivering a banger.
Moose, this is your best one yet as far as AI human. You're getting the human thing down almost perfectly.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I can't believe that was Snowfire too. Wow.
Oh,
Thank you.
Stonefire. That's what it is. Yeah, that was really good, man. That was really fucking good. You should keep doing that.
He is. He's good. He's my favorite AI artist right now.
Yeah. Phenomenal moose. Lyrics are awesome too. But yeah, I gotta head out. I gotta get some shit done around
Well,
here.
yeah, it was good. It was good catching up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry and I'm bummed, but at the same time, having lived here as long as I have, dude, they might have done you the biggest favor.
Yeah, it's possible. What do you do? Keep moving on. That's all you can do.
You do.
So
You have plenty of options from here. So
yeah, I do, and I have this particular skill set too. That's
yeah, and I mean, if you really want to be here bad enough, you could always apply for other things.
yeah. Yep. Thanks, Moose. All right, I'm gonna get out of here.
All
Thanks
right,
for having me on, Jeff.
take care. You too. Good to see you. All right, I guess that's it for today. I think that's enough for Sunday. Tomorrow is men's night support. Come talk about men's stuff. Whatever's important to you, connect with other men, tell your stories. We'll have some little topic related to men. And that's Monday night is intended to be one of the core nights of the support network that we're trying to form. So hopefully a lot of it's going to form on those Monday nights as the men show up to begin to support and network. So look for that tomorrow, and it was great hanging out with everyone today. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and see you Monday for the men's. All right, hang on. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and continuing to support this. I feel very encouraged.